The Book of Psalms. Psalm 27, a Psalm of David. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock. And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me, and answer me. When thou saidst, Seek ye my face, my heart said unto thee, Thy face, Lord, will I seek. Hide not thy face far from me. Put not thy servant away in anger. Thou hast been my help. Leave me not, neither forsake me, O God of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. Teach me thy way, O Lord, and lead me in a plain path because of mine enemies. Deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies. For false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out cruelty. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, Barbados. Good night, Caribbean. Good night, the world. This is the Marcia Week Show, and we are coming to you live from, drumroll, Barbados. Beautiful, beautiful Barbados. Where's my flag? I'm bringing in my flag real early tonight. Real early tonight. Good night, Barbados. Anybody excited to be alive? Yes, tomorrow is going to be a great day in Barbados. Tomorrow is a solemn walk, guys. Saturday, tomorrow, 10 a.m., Kensington Mall, right there, yeah? Independence Square, we're going all the way in full white. Well, I'm going to have on a white top and probably a black bottom. Everybody doesn't have full white. Some people told me, listen, I have all white. Tomorrow is going to be a great day. We want to thank Good Morning Barbados for giving us a little space to talk about it, because it's important. This is a national issue. This is not about any political parties. It's my belief that the issue of crime and violence is not a political issue. It can't be. We're all threatened by it, yes? With 33 of our strong young men dead, and we are into September. When we calculate that, that's one guy, one black man per week. Too many. And we don't care what's happening in other countries. All we're saying is that when it comes on to Barbados, yeah, we're going to firm this up. We're going to work to bring an end to gun violence. How many of you think that we can do that? We can do that. Together, we can do it. Together, we can do it. And of course, with God's help. The solemn walk tomorrow at Kensington Mall, and 10 o'clock, because, you know, we move early. We move on time. And we are calling for an end to gun violence. All right. And we're wearing white tomorrow. When you come out, we'll have water for you. Sorry, we can't provide anything else, but we thank God for Kevon, who gives us water for everybody. We thank God for those who helped me to pay for the police today. I was able to go and pay the police today. And those of you who are going to bring donations, because we still have the truck and we have sound, okay? We have the truck, we have sound, we paid for police already, we have water donated, we need money for the truck and for the sound, okay? All right, don't forget, we are not staying at Independence Square. We're not staying at Independence Square, so don't come and say, well, I came for Independence Square. You have to join us on the road, because when we get to Independence Square, we're just saying, thank you for coming. All right, good to see you. We hug on each other because we haven't seen each other in a long time. So we give each other a hug and then we go home. All right. So it's 10 o'clock tomorrow. We're wearing white and we're coming to join in solidarity. We're going to remember those who have died, and we're going to pray for the families that they represent who are still in mourning their loved ones, and we're standing in solidarity with them. Let me quickly just greet a couple people before I go to the anthem. Vernon Gardens, good evening. Monica Inns, good evening. Bajan Boy, how you doing? Owen Hines, oh my Lord. Binta Beautiful. Cecilia Miller, how are you? Joy and Faith. Oh Lord, Teroni, how are you? Marcia, how are you? Nat Grant, how is Nat Grant? Mystic Angel, how are you doing? Judy Jilt, hi Judy, I hope to see you tomorrow, Judy. Listen folks, I'm going to ask you to share. The big question is, have you shared yet? Have you liked yet? And as a matter of fact, have you subscribed to this channel yet? Huh? Have you hit that notification bell so that anytime I come on, you will be able to know? Yes? So please do that. FX Trading, are we going to see you tomorrow? Oh, hi, what about Michelle Jilks? Will we see Michelle Jilks tomorrow? Sandra Bruce, are you going to be there tomorrow? Tony Paris, Angela Burke. Oh, my Lord. Jefferson Sobers. Oh, Lord. Beverly Prescott. Yes. Jacqueline Allen. Oh, Lord. Oh, JW6378. I don't remember seeing you. Welcome if it's your first time. Heathcliff. BIM is my home. That sounds like somebody who lives in another country. Somebody in the diaspora. Yeah. All right. Good night. Kamar, good night. Rosemary Lane. How are you, Rosemary? Fabian Yard, good evening. Zaire Campbell, good evening. Kim. Oh, thank you. Kamar, we said Kamar already. Yes, Kim says she's proud of this march. Kim, why are you proud of this march? Oh, are you going to come to the march, Kim? Fabian Yard, will you be there? Yes, Kenneth Marville. Are you coming to the march tomorrow, Kenneth? Sweet Pea, how are you? Green Accord, are you coming? Monica, how is Monica doing? Monica, are you coming to the march tomorrow? We're going to be right there at Kensington. It's a solemn walk calling for an end to gun violence. Edwin Price, Edwin, please come and bring your beautiful wife and children. St. Clair Phillips, Paulette Payne, how are you? Tony Paris said yes. Tony Paris says yes. And Beverly Prescott said yes. And Zaire give a thumbs up that he's coming. Guys, bring somebody with you. This is all about Barbados. This is why we do what we do, okay? So let's stand to the playing of the national anthem at this time. You know how we do it here on the Marcia Week Show. If it's not about Barbados, we're not doing it. You know, it's all about Barbados. So let's do that at this time. We're going to stand for the playing of the national anthem. Of course, if you're driving, you can't stand. Please don't. But if you're home laying in your bed, a lot of you tell me, oh, I stay home and I lay down in my bed and put it on the big screen. Well, if that's you, please stand.
In time of need, when His
Loyal sons and daughters. And what are we loyal to? We're loyal to our country, Barbados. We are loyal to BIM. Oh my goodness, that is something else, and that's why we are going to be there. We're going to be there tomorrow. Tomorrow at we're starting right there at Kensington Mall, Massey Car Park, if you call it that. And we're making our way to Independence Square. We're asking everybody to come out. School is out. We people are still, our children are still home. And FX Trading is saying that they'll be there. I don't know if FX Trading is a male or female. Don't know the right pronoun. Rolliston Brown, are you going to be there? How about Square 4? Are you going to be there? Rameem, how are you, Rameem? Are you going to be there tomorrow? Listen, it's all about Barbados. It's us standing together, standing in solidarity. And, I was with some people today and they were saying the next one, we need to go into a community, in one of those affected communities. If you agree with that, I'm asking you to give me a thumbs up. If you are saying the next time we do this walk, we need to walk in a community on a Sunday afternoon. If you believe that that is what we need to do, give me a thumbs up. Right? Give me a thumbs up. Margaret Giddings is locked on from Toronto. Good night to Margaret. Good night, good night, good night. Oh my goodness. That is awesome. And Steve Moore is watching from the UK. Guys, please share up the live tonight. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. CASWELL FRANKLYN is on tonight. Oh, Lord, and he has a whole lot. We haven't seen him, so we're going to make sure that he has a long time to speak, because we haven't seen him in a little bit. We don't know if did he get smaller? Did he put on weight? So we're looking forward to see him. Yes. Okay, people are saying yes. They're saying to go in the community. I agree. Okay, to go in the community. Yes, and talk with the people. Yes. And what we want to do as well, one of the things that we want to do, what was suggested, I was by Bunga Lights and Lumumba today, and what they suggested is that when we go, we don't go empty-handed, but we bring stuff for the children and for families, right? We could bring some food supplies like we normally do. So we'll plan it within a 2-week span, and we will talk to Mr. Franklin and pack up his Unity Workers Union with food. We should get like a whole truckload, one of those, like our truck that we normally use, fill up the back of it with just food supplies and, school supplies, and to go into the community and drive through the community, talk with the people, and, just step, I believe, just go there, leave the comfort of our homes and go into the communities. Yes, Beverly is saying it's a good idea. Fabian says they would like to go, but they're on their way. They're at work. Well, when we actually do the community one, we are going to do it on a Sunday afternoon. Okay, we're going to do it on a Sunday afternoon. That's what I'm hearing from the people. So when you see, whenever I come here, is that I talk to people, and this is what they're suggesting. Right, so the suggestion has been there to do it on the Sunday evening, like when we went to St. John, and we went to St. John on the Sunday. Remember? Yes. So so tomorrow we will do our first one right there in town, and then we find one of these community, whether Chapman Lane, or a community there in town where some of the areas that some of the gentlemen died. Okay, so we want to go into. So well, I'm glad to know that you are wanting to do that. Yes, okay, that's wonderful. I'm excited about that. Well, guess what? We have someone really, really special here for us tonight, and that is none other than Miss Rachel Layne. And do you remember who Rachel Layne is? Who remembers who Rachel Layne is? While you're all trying to guess, and remember. Well, Rachel Layne is the young lady who accidentally fell in the well 30 feet. And we've been in touch with her. Yes, people saying good night, Rachel. People, yes. And we have been, this is since the start of the show. And well, not this very start, but a little after we started with the 4 nights a week. And so we've been in touch with Rachel. You have helped to help her to pay for the physical therapy for her, and that has been paid up. And she was waiting to do a second surgery because the physiotherapist told her she had to do a second surgery before they start. Yes, people are remembering her. And so I came back and I told her that she went to do the surgery, but then the hospital said they weren't ready for her. This is after waiting a year. And so she's here to give us some updates. And I came to you all. I told you that, as you know, Rachel is a hardworking girl, but she cannot work right now because of her the damage to her foot. And so she needed a bed. And I thank you, and also especially Maxine McLean, for coordinating that for us and making sure we got the donations in to do that for her. And Caswell has been there for her. And we've just been doing, we can't say everything that we've been doing, but I just want to let you know that she got the bed today. It was finally delivered. Finally delivered today. And I asked her, she wanted to come on just to say hi and thank you to everybody. Good night, Rachel.
Hi, good night to everyone. Good night to Marcia.
Yes, good to hear your voice again.
Good to hear yours as well. And welcome everyone in the chat. I am thanking you for everything that you are doing for me and have done for me. And I'm going to ask the Lord to continue to bless you guys. I really, really am grateful. I'm very grateful.
Yes,
I am
yes.
kind of nervous. Kind of nervous though.
When I heard all the things that were happening for you today, I said to myself, look at that. People are just showering you with love. One person said, I'm coming with some brand new sheets for Rachel. And you know what I always say to people, this is one young lady that she's not sitting around and just waiting. Rachel, try some of everything. Rachel, tell them all the things you've tried, and you're not even well. Tell them what all the little businesses that you've tried.
Well, my dad helped me with a housekeeping job a time back. I think I was like a month ago. I went and I
Mm,
did it. Although I have the problem with my foot, I went and I cleaned the house. And after doing that, I continued to do my pillows. I started a little business on the road with a friend. I started selling bread and pastries and drinks and stuff like
mhm.
that. And then it didn't work out with us, so then I continued to sell from home. And then of course I was making it happen. And I didn't stop. I actually had negative things coming my way, but I did not stop. I am not
Yes,
living there no more. I have moved out from where I was, and I am happy and comfortable where I am at the moment. But I have to start back with that now, where I'm going to start back selling because that's something in me. I don't give up.
she does not give up. I tell you, I get strength from her. Like all of us, we have our moments, right? Because you have the three children, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, yes. And we want to give big shout out to Mr. Franklin. And I know Mr. Franklin has said to me that while they've agreed on paper that the government is going to pay you, to give you some funds, you have not received it yet, right, Rachel?
No, I haven't received anything, just a bunch of promises, and it's really heartbroken because I have so much to do, and I mean, like, I don't know what is going on. I don't want to go and ask questions about it, but I just think I'm gonna laugh it up to the Lord because He is He is more than stronger than everyone. So I know that He would make something happen.
Yes, yes, and your faith is strong. I want to thank everybody on here who, whether when Rachel was selling pillows, some people went and went and found her and bought pillows from her. Others came and visited you, met you in town. You remember Rachel and help you, right?
I also received sponge. I also received material, and I'm so grateful for those stuff. I I really wish that I if I could have, really give back to those who helped me. I really would.
Well, your energy is strengthening us because you're not giving up, and I think that that is a testament of the kind of person that you are, your character. And as I said to you before, that is why when you were in that well, that I believe you didn't die, because you have such a strong spirit, Rachel, and you lived so that you could be there for your children today.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Yes, yes. I think that as I go around Barbados and I get the calls each day, Rachel, I realize that is sometimes we're waiting on the government to help and so on. But I think it's Barbadians helping Barbadians that's going to do it. What do you
Yes,
think?
it would. We have to
Yeah,
help one another.
yes, yes, yes. And at this point, I know I've connected you with someone who has some school supplies, because we don't have that at the moment. But if anybody wants to help Rachel with school supplies, you can feel free to do that. You can give me a call at 236-7000. As you have heard on here, the school supplies can run a parent up to about $2,000. To get these children out, and she has two children that's going to school. Can you tell us a little bit about the ages of the children, Rachel? You don't, yeah.
The first, well, not the first, but the one that's 10, my son, and then the other one is 8 years old.
8 years old, a girl.
Yes, the girl.
Yes, yes, and we want to get them to dancing, but it's tough to get them. I'm hoping that this time that they will be able to come. Transportation and so on is an issue, and then it's two sets of bus fare. So for them, it's like 20. It's $7. It works out to be about $28 for them just to get to dancing
Yes, it is.
per
It's damn right.
Saturday. You see, so that's going to be tough for her. So we, while they're able to come to dancing, because we've given them the scholarship, the transportation to get them to dancing is a challenge. And then we were looking, trying to help Rachel with some other things that are even more important, right? So, so we're just letting everybody know, we do it together, and that's what has happened from day one. And I just want to thank all of those, every single one of you, who have you helped Rachel. Thank you so very much. Well, Rachel, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Azana. Thank you, everyone that has been helping me. I am so grateful, and I will continue to be grateful always.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Well, have a good night. God bless
You
you.
do the same. God bless you too.
When is the surgery again? What did they tell you?
Oh well, the doctor said that I would get it in October. I think October the 14th or something like that. He said
Mm-hmm.
that is a guarantee you would get it this time. So it was. I am not. I don't have my hopes up at all, but I think it would come true this time.
Yes, and the people need to know we put Miss Maxine McLean on that as well. We work as a team, right?
Yes,
Once it comes to me, I send to different people that I know can help. And Maxine McLean doesn't turn away anything like that, like this. And she did tell me, Rachel, when you came back and you said they didn't give her the surgery, she said, "Let me call so and so. Give me her full name." Da 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 da. Right. So I know that Miss McLean is working on it. That's just how she is. And so I want to publicly thank Miss McLean, thank Caswell Franklin, Ferdinand Nichols, Kimar Stewart. Listen, we are a team. and we work together to make it happen. And the viewers, of course, I have some key people I know I can call right away, and they're gonna respond. So thank you so much, Rachel, for coming on tonight.
Okay, thank you very much too. And thank you, Mr. Caswell.
God bless. God
God
bless.
bless you.
Bye bye. Oh wow, isn't that wonderful? That is really, really wonderful. I'm going to take another 2 minutes. I see our guest is here, Mr. Zico Dunn, and we're going to hear his story, how he came out of a life of crime and gangs, and has changed his life, turned his life all around. And so tonight we're just uplifting. Guys, have you shared? Have you shared yet? Have you liked? But there's another need I want to bring to us Barbadians, because we're not gonna sit around and wait on government. Yeah, there are some things that we are going to do for each other, like we've been doing for Rachel and the others, that we don't bring it to you. We're only going to bring those cases to you that we need your help. The ones that we can solve by our, without coming on here with, we will do that. But there is something that right now we got yesterday, and it's much bigger than we are. When I say we, I mean the inner team, the smaller team, the core team. And so I am going to put it up and ask you to see if you might just have this at your home. You know somebody who can help this lady. Okay, so here we go.
Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Clet. I am 43 years old. I have a problem with my right foot. My toes had to be removed. I was bitten by a mice, and they had threatened me to cut my foot up to my hip, but I refused. I don't know. They had given me prescriptions to go to the disability unit to get a wheelchair and an air floor boot. Since that I refuse to allow them to cut my foot more, everything just went downhill for me. Up to now, this is 4 months. Then into 5 months that I cannot get a wheelchair, cannot get the airflow boot for my foot, and I cannot put down my foot on the floor. They don't want me to put any weight on the floor on my foot. I was using a walker with a seat, and the wheels came off. I have no other source of getting or transporting myself to the hospital. I have dressing tomorrow, and I don't have a wheelchair to get around. I really need help. I don't have no family, and friends are not 100% right now. I really need help. I really need the use of a wheelchair right now. I live in Britton Hill, in Reese Road, whereas the welfare is paying for the apartment.
Okay. Yes. Yes. It's real, and that's just that I'm just choosing to bring this one to you tonight, because the wheel, getting a wheelchair is different from somebody needs some groceries or so, you understand. So if they need groceries, if we can't do it, then we send them down to Caswell, Unity Workers, which he needs his stuff to be replenished at Unity Workers Union as well. But this wheelchair, we do need some help with it. And I thought about it, and I said, you know what, let me take it to the family. It came in yesterday, and I sent it to Miss McLean and to some key persons. And But I wanted to take it to the family because, you know, someone was saying, well, you know, someone might have a wheelchair home and that it can work. And let me just check what she said. I think she said 16-inch or 16 inches or 18 inches. I'm not sure how that works, but I'm looking for it now so that I can tell you exactly what she said. Okay, just not seeing it right now, but I think she said 16 to 18 inches. That's what I think it means. Um, yes, Skylar. So, guys, if you have, well, it's the wheelchair is no, it's her walker. Her walker, Mr. Maximus, is a walker that was destroyed, but she now needs she got a walker when she got out the hospital, and 4 months now the walker something went wrong with the walker. That's my understanding. And so now she needs a wheelchair. She was supposed to be given a wheelchair, but when she went there, they said that they didn't have any more. Okay, this is I guess this is government supply, but you know, but okay, so loyal daughter saying they have a wheelchair they can give you. You see what I'm saying, guys? Loyal daughter 66, please contact me. Is it 16? I'm sure she said. Just let me, guys, allow me to just check this, please. 16 inches or 18 inches. I'm sure that's what it means. The two things at the side, yeah. Okay, so loyal daughter, thank you so much. What I will also say is that she also said, she told me since yesterday that she does need some groceries. She said that the welfare helps her with the apartment that she's living in, and we thank God for that. But if we can come in and we can support, as I said, we can do it. You know, we can do it. What's happening in our country, we can do it, not just in bringing groceries and wheelchairs and so on, but we can fix the crime issue as well. Do you see what happened there in Bannatyne when we came together, white and black, and we worked together? We worked together. I was speaking to Mr. John Knox today, and he said, Marcia, you know, Mr. John Knox, who comes on and shows the maps, and he said, you asked me the other night, why did they listen to us about Bannatyne? And he said, you know what it is that we came together and we worked together. And they're going to come back on the show on Wednesday to thank us on the show, all the viewers, everybody who made a big thing about it on the Marcia Week show, so that they could get a victory up there in Bannatyne. And we celebrate with them, right? But I tell you, tonight, let us celebrate. Let us do something for this woman in Britain's Hill. She said she lives on Reese Road. And so we're going to check out the wheelchair. Oh, okay. Kamar is telling us that the wheelchair, really, it's that cheap? I didn't know. Oh, you guys are touching my heart tonight. I said, you know, I discussed with someone. I said, you know what? I feel like I need, because we don't like to keep coming. Zico is here. We're going to come, Zico, quickly. I don't like to keep coming to ask, especially now we're asking for donation tomorrow. I'm very sensitive to that. Sensitive that we are all, including myself, trying to buy groceries, you know. So I try not to come with everything to you all. But I thought that this was that important. Okay, Tony Paris, Kamar, I think I know I have your number. Loyal daughter 66. Please reach out to me, guys. 236-7000. 236-7000. Why do I feel like if somebody wants to, you know, she's not working, probably needs some nice clothes? That just came in my head. The woman never asked for that. Please, I will find out her size and I will let you know. I'm in chats with some of you. and give her, if you have something newish, and or new that you can give her something and let her feel good about herself. So when she's going out in the wheelchair, she can dress up and put on a little makeup, and and she looks nice and feel good as a female, right? And feel because she's lost part of her foot, and let her feel good. Let her lift up her spirit. Okay, so we can do it. Okay, Pamela is saying no duties or nothing for disability purposes. Okay, well, if that's the case, boy, we could get some wheelchairs in here. Is it that easy, Kamar? We could get some wheelchairs in here. Oh my Lord. Ooh. All right. So isn't it? Come on, guys. Come on. Give yourselves a hand. Give yourselves a hand. Awesome. That is lovely. Please message me. Oh, wow. No duty on medical. Oh, they're duty free. We learn things on here all the time. Oh, wonderful. All right. So let me go straight. This is awesome, guys. Father, we thank you. We thank you for this woman. Allow me to pray now. Father, we thank you. We thank you for this woman. And I bless her. I have not met her yet, but I bless her. And we bless Rachel as well. And we thank you that they will have good quality of life. Rachel is going to walk again after that surgery and the physiotherapy. She's going to walk again and be able to work and take care of her children. And this woman, she is going to be able to be well again and feeling beautiful and happy in her wheelchair, going out to see the world. And we bless her now in your name. Amen. All right. You can cuss me later that I prayed. Don't worry. Good night, Zico John. How are you?
Good night. I am doing fantastic today. Thank you. And how are you?
I'm on top of the world. We got a wheelchair for our ladies. I
Well
went out
done.
on a
Well
limb.
done. We're so good in the world. I love that. Well done.
And Easy Day said she will not only walk, but she will dance.
Yeah.
That's positive, Easy Day. Thank you for saying something positive. Wonderful. I know people are going to take care of her, and it's good. That lift? I know I saw you looking and you were smiling. How did it make you feel to hear that we got a wheelchair for the lady?
Yes, I love that. I love to see it. I love to see brothers and sisters helping each other, man. That's what it's all about. I love it.
Yes. Wonderful. Well, Zico, I'm so happy to have you on tonight, and because this is going to be another one of those stories that we're going to just be beaming and smiling. So, you have to share. You've got to share. You've got to like. You got to share. You got to like. Yeah. Now, Zico, let me remind the people that Zico is going to be there tomorrow at the solemn walk. Are you going to be there, Zico?
Yes, I am. Yes, I will be.
You're
Bright and
wearing
early.
white? You're
Yep,
going to wear
right.
a white shirt?
Of course.
Full white or full white like a
Full
cricketer?
white. Full white. Full white.
I wish I had full white. I don't have full white. I wish I had full white. Yeah, well, tomorrow it's a sad day for some, because I know that some of the relatives of those who have lost loved ones are going to be there as well. But we join in solidarity with them. If they're weeping, we weep with them. And so we as Barbadians, we are all in this thing together. Now, Zico, people see you, and when I see you on Facebook, you look all decked out. This guy could dress. And and this has always been Zico. I met you, I believe, in it could have been 2010 thereabouts. Yeah, probably 14 years ago I met you. And when I met you, I'm not sure if you were out of the gang yet at that time. When I met you, we were doing Hush. We did, right. We were doing Hush at the time. But Zico, I want to ask you, Zico, how did you get into a gang? Explain that to me.
or before you even start how I get into the gang. Sometimes you get into a group not even knowing that it's a gang. Actually, you just tell yourself just a group of friends, a brotherhood, just hanging and chilling with each other. And then before you know it, you end up forming a what we would call a gang. And I think what happens in today's society is that we tend to not believe there are gangs because we don't call it gangs. We just call it other
Mm-hmm.
people guys and they chill together and what's not. But then eventually it forms to something much more, diabolical. So
Mm.
I would say it first started in the secondary school. In
Yeah.
secondary school, yeah, in secondary school, just a group of friends hanging out with each other. It could be because of what part you live. It could be due to the fact that you either left primary school and went into secondary school, or it could be the fact that you live in a particular area. So it was like town versus country. And then, we start forming little cliques and we start forming. And the sad thing about it is that um, spirit recognize spirit. And a lot of us came from dysfunctional homes. And the sad thing about it is that sometimes we recognize pain between each other. And
Mm-hmm.
born not even know why we born. And
So Zico, well, tell me please, because sometimes we say this thing and we don't want to say which school.
yeah,
Where did you go to school?
Grantley Adams.
So you were at Grantley Adams, and you're
Yeah,
saying that's really where it started, where you started to identify with a certain type of people that you
correct.
felt comfortable with.
Exactly. In primary school, I started out very young. I was doing a lot of mischievous things in primary school coming up. I was in a lot of fights. I was searching to see if I could get a little weed or a little cigarette to smoke,
At
hide
primary
and do this
school?
thing at primary school. Yeah. And also too, where it was raised. Where it was raised was in the city, well known as Nelson Street. So
Oh, okay.
I was at sports from young till long. These activities, not necessarily even knowing that it's a bad thing because everybody was doing it. I didn't even know having a job was a real thing. So we coming up, that just seemed very normal. So you're going out with the boys and you say, like my father left a split here, you want to try this here. Even smoking tea bags, you would take out the herb out to the tea bag and you roll it up in paper and you started like that.
Wait. A lot of us. I remember doing that. You go
Yeah,
and get the dry leaf and think and try to smoke it.
yeah,
A lot of your little children, because you're following the adults, right?
yep.
And so in primary school, you were trying out some of those things too.
Exactly. So in primary school, that's basically how we started. I started with just probably because of smoke. We would hide and smoke it. We thought it was just a cool thing, we see grown ups doing it. We thought that was a cool thing. Especially as a young man looking up to other men as well and knowing where he was living at the time. That was just the norm. Everybody was smoking, so why not do it? And it started like that, and it was getting into a lot of different fights and stuff like that. My mother had got married, and I felt like I was being kind of replaced in a way. And I started to act out in a lot of strange ways
You
because
have
I
you
was,
have other brothers and sisters when your mom
yeah,
got
but
married?
my brother is 10 years younger than me, but 9, 10 years younger than me. So at the
Ah.
time, it was just me and my mom at the time. And when she got married, I was then sent by my grandmother, which was also in Elster Street as well. She had left and she had basically moved out. So I spent a lot of time with my grandma, and I kind of felt abandoned in a sense. Um, you probably not know how to verbalize it or express it at that time. So I started to act out in a lot of weird ways and get into a lot of mischief, got transferred. At first thing I stabbed a boy with a pencil at school in his face with a pencil. Then I got transferred, went to Hillby Turner's Hall. And
Mhm,
then from there I just continued. Then got into secondary school. That's really basically started from there. Because at
mhm.
schools, I will never forget this. My first week into secondary school, first week, probably must even my second day, I saw someone ear got chopped right
What?
off, hanging off his face. There was this huge fight hanging off his face. And I never forget. I was telling myself, this place, that could never be me. And then it put this kill or be killed mentality. So like, the fight or flight responses. And I was like, yeah, I gonna fight if anything happen. Like I can't show fear. I can't show and that was me. I always attack things that I feared. So anybody who I felt was a threat at the time, I would probably attack. And with that kind of mentality, I probably grew people knew me for somebody that was like, yeah, he liked violence. He like, you know, he liked fighting. He liked doing, but really and truly it was fear, you know?
Yes, yes,
And a
yes,
lot of
yes.
people tend to see young people doing things, not understanding that sometimes they be acting out of fear. Not just because, oh, they just want to be bad boys, but really and truly it's fear. Behind all the tough exterior and everything, the screw face and all that, it was really and truly fear. I can look back in it and see now. But I remember then going to school, we used to wear a black shirt every Friday. And we used to call ourselves the Luck and Luck Off crew. We started off the Luck and Luck Off crew. And we would defend each other coming up, fight against other schools, tongue versus country. And it started like that. And we were going to mischief, do a lot of crazy stuff like that, you know, petty crimes and stuff like that. Then it continued to develop even more and more and more. The reason why I left secondary school was because some men had came to the schools with guns for me.
Yes, I remember now. I
Yeah,
remember. No, the whole thing is coming back when we met you. Yes.
yeah,
So go over that. So you. I want you know, Tamika. I'm with you on this one. Tamika is saying, listen to Zico well, people. Children have feelings, even if they can't verbalize or express themselves. And as a mother, there's some mistakes that I've made as well, but you didn't listen to the children properly. And this is a good time for us to really think about that we've got to listen to them, listen to what they're saying. So you're basically saying that you did not go and say, well, we're going to start a gang. You just started to find the people that you had things in common with,
yeah,
and you started to defend each other because you're
yep,
in a school where you saw people chop off people's ears. And then you started to, you know, wear the same colors. Everybody was wearing black. So you
yeah.
said you would go into town and you would do petty crimes. Like what do you call petty crimes?
We were going to town, beat the homeless. Sometimes
Beat
we
the
would,
homeless.
yeah,
All right. Okay. No
yeah.
judgment. Go ahead. I'm
Um,
just like, beat the homeless for what?
it was just, I guess, you know, to prove. I have no idea. I can't even explain why we was doing it. We just thought it was fun. Um,
Okay.
we thought it was fun. Just being lawless, going to town, beat the homeless, robbing, robbing people, doing crazy stuff like that at a young age, basically.
Right. And you
And
were in. So what age did you say to yourself, this is a gang?
it wasn't even seen as a gang yet. It was just seen like, yeah, that's your family. It really happened when I left school. But coming back to that, I remember I had told you it was in a war between tongue versus country.
Yes.
And yeah. And what had happened was that some guys who had finished school, I mean, men came to the schools with guns for me. And due to the fact that I told you that I used to attack what it is that I feared, I actually rushed at these men, even knowing that they had guns. And I remember the teachers trying to grab me and what's not and trying to stop me from happening. At the same time, somebody had called the police. Police came and took us all up and took us to the station. And while at the station, my mom ended up coming to the station, and my mother was like, "This is dangerous, Zico. I'm feeling a pull you over school because I don't like this and that thing. I hear that my son dead." And, you know, a fear of a mother, because that was a very serious thing for she to experience, basically, knowing that someone came to the school trying to harm me. And I remember there was a particular teacher, his name was Mr. Griffith. He was upset that I had to left school. He was basically he taught math and he also did PE. And I was into sports. And he didn't want me to leave. He was actually working with me. He did not want me to leave at all. And he was like, he understand. And then I left school.
What age was this? What age
This
was this?
was now probably age 15 going 16.
Hmm.
Right. So then I left, and then my mom was like, "You got, if anything, you can go and do school outside the school. You can go and do classes and what's not, and you can get a job." My mother pulled me out of school the Friday. Monday, my mother had a job for me. Monday, my mother
What
had
were
me
you
work.
doing? What kind of job was that?
My mother had me working at Larry Dash as a storeroom clerk.
Ah.
Yeah. My mother was like, "I ain't gonna go, you're not working, bum bum bum." So 2 2s, my mother had me working. So leaving school now, it was different. This is where now, it was no longer me chilling with the same friends I was going to school with. I was actually now into like basically the real world. And this is where I ended up joining a gang by the name of Crips.
Crips.
Yeah.
In Barbados. So you had a gang by the name of Crips in Barbados.
Yeah. What had happened was at that time it was the rise because a lot of deportees had came back from the United States into Barbados. So there was a lot of Bloods and Crips. So the culture from the States came into Barbados. And we was kind of indoctrinated in a sense. And then they had the rappers who was glorifying this kind of gang culture, claiming to be Blood or claiming to be a Crip at the time. And some dependent, and the thing about the Bloods or Crips, which was different, was that it was never dependent on where you lived. It was never dependent on who you know. As long as you basically represented it, say internationally, you was known to be part of that particular gang, and it was very well
But let me
structured.
ask you, how did you join? Like, were you recruited?
Yeah, what had happened was to join the gang basically is an initiation. We were actually beat into the gang.
You beat into the gang.
Yeah,
Explain.
which is like we call it jumping or cripping, which is like for like 60 seconds basically or 30 seconds, a whole group of guys would bump you and start to beat you. And you had to show your toughness to be able to last within, checking out to show that you could basically last. And that's your first initiation into the gang.
So that's the initiation, but how did you know about them? Is it
First I start seeing I start seeing some fellas with some the blue scarves in the left pocket with some beads around the neck. So I start seeing, so I started believe, what's this here already going on? Like, what is that? Was this here really all about? And then I just said I had rappers, so then it was very internationally known what was a Blood and what was a Crip. There was a say in Barbados, which was very different, was crazy to me. I was like, all right, this is very strange. And then I realized that I came across a lot of old heads who was like, yeah, that was here for a while. They just know that, it may not probably have take on the name Chris, you probably would have a set name. When they say a set name, a block name, but under the same principles or code of the particular gang. And within this gang, there's an OG, which is basically the head of the particular gang. And then underneath, you basically work your way up. So I basically work my way up, don't start doing small little petty things to eventually build my cred. And that's how you basically build ranks that make your way up to up the chain, up the line.
And this time, when you actually you left school about 15, 16, and what age did you join this gang?
Well, as soon as I basically left, basically, yeah. Because I remember seeing it while going to school, because it was around, it was around. And then I started linking up with some fellas who was Crips. And, and then we started basically getting into war with the Bloods. So then there was a lot of back and forth kind of war going on.
But let me ask you something. Do you think when you were doing this, do you think that the average Barbadian believed that the Crips and the Bloods were in Barbados?
No, it didn't. Because once again, when people hear the word gangs, people don't associate gangs with Barbados. People so accustomed to hearing crews or yeah, that's a block or that really man is lying. So let me gangs now. Gang songs so foreign. Gang songs so like what those gangs? Gangs in Barbados. So it was kind of under the radar for a while. But what had happened, what made it on the radar is when we started doing a lot of tagging, which is like spray painting on buildings, the graffiti, where you would then claim you set, which is the gang that you belong to. You start tag over a particular person to show you territory, basically. So that's basically how.
Why was that? Explain for me. Why was that so important to tag that area?
For multiple reasons. One, it shows that this is the particular territory of this particular gang. It also shows for a fact that these people is run this particular section. It also shows for a fact that the dominance of the gang basically though. It's basically territory.
Territory. Yeah. Wow. Oh my goodness.
The thing about the Crips though, the Crips will intrigue me so organized it was. And the structure, the secret handshakes, they had little oaths and different things like that. It was like oaths like you live for your mother, you live for God, you die for your gang.
Wow. So
And
you said about mother. So all this time, did your family, your mom, your younger siblings, did they know you were involved in something like this?
my mother just thought I just hang around with friends and we just trying to dress like her. You know, we just got, you see him, I guess the fashion sense or whatever. She thought it was
Mm-hmm.
at the time. She didn't know how serious it was at the time though. She didn't know how serious it was. I think she eventually got realized how serious it was coming on as the height I got to the ranks. It began, she started to realize some signs and she said people started telling she was, you know, you stand in that gang though. And you know, she would hear it and then she was like, hmm. And the more and more she heard it, she started to believe it. She started to see like more men coming hanging around me, people coming to show me, you know,
So
different
you,
things.
how did you feel as a young man? You know,
Yeah.
you're a young man and you're now moving up the ranks. And what do you did it do anything to your self esteem or you felt scared?
It,
How
bo-
did you feel?
it basically boosts my self esteem because one, rather than look at it as a gang, look at right, we looking at any point of view of that young man. And our point of view, that young man, that this is your family. You know, this is you tribe. This is who you really belong to. So we're looking up for one another. Basically, we didn't looking at it as something like a destruction or we just trying to be, you know, oh here just doing the worst. We're just looking at this. We family. We just looking for each other. So even if
Okay.
somebody you don't know, even if somebody that you don't know, you saw with the flag or whatever, you would throw that new gang sign, and then before you all know it, y'all hanging out, y'all chilling, y'all getting something to drink. You know what I mean? So it was like a togetherness kind of way that was very, very different from the culture that we had in Barbados.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Listen, I only have, can you believe this is so interesting? I only have 11 more minutes in this interview because Mr. Caswell Franklin is coming up. But I want to ask you, what was the worst experience you could say that you ever had being in this gang?
I had two bad experiences. One is where one of my best friends was killed, where he was beaten with a baseball bat and he was stabbed multiple times. Yeah, and then to watch it be in a coma, then eventually losing him, that did something to me mentally. That is what actually turned me into the beast, beast, beast. That like, yeah, that did something to me. That hurt in my heart. And then the next worst experience when I was also stabbed, I was stabbed 5 times as well. And I was in hospital. And I think it was at the time, it really wasn't my worst experience because I saw it as, all right, this is, as I was like, to be honest with you, I was prepared for that. I
When you
made
say
it
you were prepared for death, I mean you didn't fear death.
because I saw, yeah, yeah, I saw too many of my friends dying, too many of my friends going to jail. Eventually you just tell yourself is next. You next. And the amount of worries I was in and the amount of things I was involved in at the time, I know it's just only a matter of time before it come to me. And then not only that, I was also told that there was a hit on my head. And someone had came in to basically kill me. And the news was then brought to me. So anyway, I was kind of prepared for it. I was psych up myself every single day in different ways to, all right, if I done out this, how we gonna go out. So when it happened to me at the time, and I survived, I just thought I was just built for this. And it kind of like amplified my rap at the time.
Oh, so
And
you moved up in rank because you were stabbed 5 times.
yeah, at that time I was the OG as well. I was one of the youngest OGs at the time. So I actually had my own crew. And then I left the Crips afterwards over a situation. Wanted to retaliate, wanted to go and shoot this guy. We saw the guy. It was in the midst of a whole bunch of people. And the guys I was with was like, my Lord children. It was at the Olympus at the time, man. It was like, my Lord children, and cameras and things like here. And I was like, I don't want to hear this the man that stand me, you know. And I wanted to shoot the guy at the time. And then I was like, nah, this isn't a good idea. And you know, being hot headed and stuff like that, it was vexed. And I was like, you know what? I go to this Crip thing. And I eventually started something called Street Soldiers. The
Yes,
things
I remember that. I remember that. So
right.
then you left the Crips and started your own called Street Soldiers. But before you go on, I want everybody to hear what he said earlier. That after he saw his best friend stabbed up, beaten with a baseball bat, and died, how it hardened his heart, you know, and he wanted revenge. and how he got stabbed up 5 times and he didn't care for his life. He, you know, for him, and then when he saw the guy who stabbed him, how he wanted to kill. I want us to keep that in the back of our heads, okay? Because that is really, I believe, what we're dealing with in these 33 murders that we saw. But continue, please,
Yeah,
Zico.
and then so basically I was ready to crash up. So I remember I started events up and I was like, I was a street soldier over this quick thing, and people was asking was a street soldier. And at the time when I said it, I remember how I posted it. It was MSN and stuff at the time going on. I remember how I posted it. It wasn't supposed to be a gang. It just that I was just a street soldier. But then people was like, so what's this? And I was like, you know what? I can let people know. So I created my own little set of rules. I was recruiting Blow of Bloods and Crips. And the crew grew ridiculously fast. And yeah, we started from there. And then the whole street soldiers was then born. And then I remember there was then an article that was talking about, you know, the 10 most notorious gangs in Barbados. And the street soldiers was in the article. And I felt proud. I felt like, you know, yeah, like this is what we're talking about, you know. And but in all honesty, though, what happens is that when you find yourself witnessing so much loss, and when you find yourself losing so many people around you, and eventually it hardens your heart, and there's so much trauma and things that you've been dealing with, that eventually it's just be a killed or be killed mentality. A weakness is like a character flaw. So to have feelings for somebody, to think about the consequences, was a character flaw. So learning how to act without thinking, or learning to act without thinking of the consequences, was the only way you was basically going to survive. Because you knew for a fact, like, if you basically left the streets or if you show weakness, your time was up.
Wow, wow, wow. So, you know, with just a couple more minutes to go, I mean, who would like to sit and talk to him the whole night? But, you know, I want to ask you, how did you decide to leave the gang, Street Soldiers? You started it and then you decided to leave it. Why?
Yeah, this is when then now Marcel came into play. This is
Really?
where he was doing, where it was the hush film. Yes, this is where now the hush was now introduced. You already do the hush film, and I remember then Sophia was like, "You want to be part of this film?" And remember, we did the film, we shoot the film and what's not. And the thing about it, when the film came out, there was a particular when I had shot the guy in his head. A lot of people was glorifying it, and people couldn't tell the difference between movie and reality at the time. A lot of young people, because that was basically the kind of life that I was living. So what really had hit me that day was a particular time you had invited us to come to the Olympus to talk to the students.
Yes, I remember. So hold a
Right.
minute. So when we actually when we auditioned you to be in the movie Hush,
All
you're
that time was
saying
part of the game.
you are still part of the gang.
Yeah.
Oh Lord of mercy, look at this thing. I had no idea, people, truthfully. I had no idea. And so there was a scene I remember because my son played the boy,
Yeah.
the boy the character, Dan, he played a character that you guys shot.
Mhm.
JJ. Remember
Yeah.
JJ? So you
Yep.
guys in the this is a movie, guys, a movie. So they shot JJ. And what, tell us what happened to you when that happened in the film.
Right. So then I remember going on and we was talking to the students, but it was just one particular school that really touched my heart. It was two incidents. It was right. Well, first we start with this. It was when it was the school, Chandler School. Chandler School had came to the Olympus. And after talking to the students, I remember some guys coming to me and said they want to be just like me. They want to be just like me. And you understand me? And knowing that my mother was threatened, my sister was threatened, the life that I was living, thinking that the police gonna hold me, thinking that I can get killed. After hearing them in the situation that they was in at the time, you know, being having disabilities and stuff like that, looking up to me, who was just prepared to die when his time is up. That hit me. That really touched my heart at the time. And I was like, I can't continue doing this anymore. And it was your husband. I will never forget this day. The weeks he came to me and he was like, you see that you're a leader though. And then I will never forget this day. He was talking about God and giving my life to God and how we can impact people in a much positive way. And I gave my life to Christ in the Olympus that day outside. You know, he came and he sat down and he was patient with me and he talked to me. and he wasn't preaching at me at the time. And then eventually give my life to Christ. I ain't give this God thing a try. And I did. And the funny thing about it, what really proved, so really proved God was really real. That afterwards now, I remember saying, all right, cool, man, I can't continue living this way. I can't continue leading these people to destruction. And then it was the Lord school who had came, and I had told them that I ain't a part of that life anymore. And people was like, if you're not a part of that, I ain't a part of this anymore, and everything. And it was like, well, it's that easy for people. So then eventually said, all right, give this God thing a try. And it's the one of y'all had invite me to come, and there was a guy who was giving his testimony. He was a deportee as well, Weeks.
Oh, when you know the funny thing, I'm sure Dave doesn't remember one thing about this. I remember you coming to speak to the students at the cinema.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people see me doing these kind of things, but they don't know that we've been working with young men, right, for years. But continue the story.
Yeah. So then I remember I was in town. You know, I tell the man, I ain't living our life no more. And it was in town, I was walking through town. And then I saw my enemies, which you will call your ops. It was like 20 of them. And they saw me. And they approached me to start taking out the weapons. It was walking towards me. It was like, yeah, we got you now, boy. You dead today. And I remember saying, God, if you're real, you gotta come true for me. I ain't gonna run, I ain't gonna fight back, I ain't gonna retaliate. If this is what it's supposed to be, this is what it's supposed to be. I remember boys telling me just cross the road. And across the road, and across the road. They saw they cross the road as well. And I was like, all right, I guess this is it. And miraculously a car just pulled up, and a man told me get in. And I was like, huh? Man told me get in. Got in the car, everybody started surrounding the car, and the man scratched off. And this is where Praise Academy was located in Cavers Lane at the time. And me and this man did not speak. I did not know this man. I just in the box, like, what the hell just happened? And he led me straight to Praise Academy. And I was like, he told me get out. I get out. I was like, what the hell happened here? Like, I couldn't understand it. You know, I just couldn't understand it. So I went upstairs, and the same time I went upstairs, when Weeks was giving a testimony.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You just tell me sit down. I went upstairs, and he was giving a testimony, and it was like, have a seat. I sat down, and then he was giving his testimony. His testimony really spoke to my heart at the time.
He was a deportee. He was a deportee.
Yeah.
I remember.
And he was talking about his life. And it's like, I'm minding in 1,000 different places where, you know, I'm supposed to be dead. Why this man dropped me here? Who is this man? You know? And at the end of the testimony, when Weeks came and touched me on my shoulder and said, don't worry about it, you can get through. I was like, who tell this man about me? Who could this man know who's me? And it was just too many queens. It was like, everything just was like, I was like, this God be real, you know? This God be real. And then I remember then afterwards, I got involved then in Praise Academy of Dance, and I was getting involved in dance and stuff like that. And that was kind of like my outlet, in a sense, now, to be in a different environment, you know. Venture started building my faith a little more. It wasn't always easy. And it started building the things of God. And I was able to release a lot of my anger and frustration through dance. And it helped in so many different ways. And that is one of the reasons why I came out. I was like, if it's supposed to happen, it will happen. If I'm supposed to die this way, I die this way. At least I'm dying for a right cause. And that was the main reason how we came out. Or, yeah, was the reason why we basically came out to the gang life.
Wow. You know, would you believe, Zico? I'm sure you probably told us, but I honestly did not remember. It was while we were doing the interview on CBC. Then I said, "Oh yes, I remember you were in Hush."
Yeah.
And I remember Hush, but I didn't. No, actually, what I remembered, not that you were in Hush. I remember that you were speaking to the young people at Olympus, but I didn't realize that when you were in Hush, you were actually in a gang already. So boy, this is really really powerful. And you know, I'm glad that you were able to share your story tonight. And somebody's asking if Matthew Farley played the principal. Yes, he's passed now, but Matthew Farley did play the principal in that movie. And a lot of people, a lot of young men lives were turned around from those movies. And we're hoping, Zico, with this new what we're embarking on, because you're reminding me of so many things. And as I tell you, I'm sure Dave doesn't remember these things. I remember is that he used to have these parties for you all at night, late.
Praise on, yeah.
We call them praise zone, and we play like not all Christian music, but like wholesome music, and you all would come and dance, and people would do fish cakes and everything for you all, and no drinking. And then we would get people to drop you all home, all because we wanted to make sure that we had a safe place for you, and that you are not in gangs or anything. Well, Zico, we're going to hear more from you tomorrow, aren't we?
Yes, definitely.
What's the last thing you want to say to the people before Mr. Franklin comes?
Yeah, I just want to encourage everybody to continue to have faith, continue to pray for the youth, and be patient with the youth. Continue to plant these seeds. I know you may tell yourself you're talking to the young men, and you're telling them to change their life, and you may tell yourself you're not getting through. But trust me, the seeds are being planted. Sometimes it just takes one situation, that it can actually manifest and actually change that young person's life. And even when you tell yourself that you give up hope and you don't ever think that it can happen, just continue. I'm going to encourage every single person to come out tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be very pinnacle. We really need to speak to the issues that's going on in terms of violence. We really need to continue to petition for these young men and these young women. And I just want to encourage every single person, just don't give up faith on the youth. Don't give up faith on them. If I could change, anybody could change.
Yes, and let me just say here that the National Longitudinal Survey of Youth in the USA said that youth who attend faith-based gatherings, services, mosques, churches, temples are 39% less likely to commit crimes, 57% less likely to deal drugs. That's just statistics, and we're hearing Zico's story.
And to add to that, and even to add to that before we leave, one of the reasons why is that there too, because when you direct them into a more positive light, something that they could believe and find themselves and find their identity, eventually start to find a purpose.
Wow. I hope you all come out to hear Zico tomorrow. He's going to finish all of this up tomorrow. Thank you, Zico, for joining us.
Thanks
God
for
bless
having me
you.
as well.
Yes, and I could listen to you the whole night because it's a story of hope. It's a story of transformation. All right. So thank you so much. God bless you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. See you tomorrow. Guys, this is beautiful. Somebody saying that I'm smiling. I'm smiling because it's hope. It's hope for Barbados. It's hope for Barbados. When you think of what's happening with our young men, think of Zico, think of him, and there are many more. Yeah, there are many more like Zico, and we want to continue this, reaching and touching our young men. There's this program, Elevated, that started right on the show from you guys. Started right on the show. We were talking about this gang violence and our young people, and this idea came. And one of our young men, he's not even 20 yet, about 19 years old, came up with this name, Elevated. Timon, I think he's probably 20. Timon, who's going to perform tomorrow. Timon came up with the name of this program, Elevated, Readiness for the Next Stage. And there is someone who's actually right here in our chat, and she's volunteered to coordinate this program. And it's for those who are 16, who have left school leavers, who, like Zico, remember he left school and then he went into a real gang. We want to be able to provide a space for them that when they leave school, that, they can come to us, and we are going to help them with literacy, with all kinds of different skills, preparing them for work, and hopefully it could be a program that builds out into other things. There's Mr. Franklin there that could do some sessions with them. As they're going into the world of work, you've said Mr. Franklin need to be teaching the young people. We could see if he would have the time. There's Kimar there. There are all Rose at the moment is preparing the teachers, so they're training. They've had, I think, 2 or 3 training sessions, and it's running really well. We need some more students. Do you have any young person in your community or in your family, at your church? They're now they've left school and they don't have anything else to do. They're not employed, or they might be employed, but they're having difficulty with reading, or you want to help them so they can progress. Today we had somebody who came and they said, I'm going to study nursing, but I don't write well. I can't write good essays. Can I join this program? I said, very well, very much. And I passed on the person's name to the coordinator. And those are the things that we do through the show. So the show is not just a talk shop, but we are here to help people. That's really what it's all about. Well, let me bring Mr. Franklin, and I'm going to give him back his time because I told him he have a whole hour tonight. Good night, Mr. Franklin. How you doing?
Good night, Marcia. I am well. I'm not as tired as I was a couple of weeks ago, but I'm good.
You're
And
doing
it's
good.
And it's good to be here. Good to see you, and good to be speaking to the audience again after a little break, another break. But I'm here.
Yes, that's wonderful. Well, we're happy to see you. We're always happy to see you. I was actually speaking to a young lady. She is in Vancouver, and she said she would pass whenever the show is on. Her mom, they're Bajans living in Vancouver, and she says, but whenever Mr. Franklin is on, I sit down and I listen. So I just wanna say there are young people who are listening as well. Well, I'm just gonna let you go right at it and jump right in into what you have for us tonight. We're ready to learn, and we're talking about grievance procedure in the public service, 0 hour contracts. I don't know what that is. I would love to know. And sexual harassment. I know about that one.
Oh, you like me? You have been a victim too.
Go ahead, Mr. Franklin.
You know, when you're born cute, it happens to you.
It happens. Are we hearing him clearly? Are you hearing him? Let me know, because we don't want. Somebody said they hope you didn't eat the tomatoes.
No, they're gone. Thank God for that. Anyhow, tonight I have been having some problems, and I like to talk about the problems that I have to deal with, in the hope that people would realize that there's something that they can do. You know, we have in the public service of Barbados, and I'm sad to say it, but we have some awful supervisors and managers who treat their subordinates like dirt.
Mm-hmm.
You have people go to meetings with them and they come up crying, and and I just because they have the power. And the thing is, what is troubling is that these arrogant, bad behaved supervisors are known. They know who they are, and they're protected. So if you're a temporary officer, mind you've been temporary for a lot of years, but if you're a temporary officer, you feel afraid to complain about this behavior, because next thing you know, they send you home. They don't give you, they don't extend your contract, and the problem is solved. No, the problem is not solved, because they find somebody else to unfair, to harass, and to mistreat. As a matter of fact, the public service has rules, a rule for almost everything. But a lot of these rules are observed in the breach. People just don't care. You have fellows you grow up with, your friends, you come into service together, and one of you might become PS, and the fellow he's still a senior clerk because he didn't go and study and do any kind of thing, and he didn't join the particular party in power at the time, so he became the PS. And the PS protects the bad behavior. A lot of it happens in nursing. Some of the worst people in the public service and the way they treat their subordinates are senior nurses. You wouldn't believe it. Nurses are a caring profession, and They don't seem not to care about each other. And you wonder if you really care about the people that are supposed to, because if you cannot care about your colleagues, you can't really care about the patients that you have to deal with, you know. You know, I get a complaint about something happening in nursing almost every day. Happens a few times a week. Without exception. Some people are miserable and the thin skin. Yes, we can account for that. But
Yes.
more so than not, you know, let's say you were a nurse, you live in a particular area, you can walk to work and stuff, and you only supervisor got problems, to transfer you to some place so far that you can't get there. We have situations where nurses have problems. The husband works during the day, and he has to take care of children, especially during the time when children are home during the vacation. So she asked us to she wants to work during the night, so the husband could be. But sorry, she could work during the day, and the husband can be children at night. And they said no. A person said, "Well, look, when she want to work days," somebody said, "I will do the days." They said, "No, we don't let you do the days. We want you to work the night." People are volunteer. People want to work the night because it's better for them. But because it is penalizing, they are penalizing somebody. They are not going to allow that nurse to be comfortable. They refuse to let them work. All these kind of things happen. And sometimes they just take it and go along. Some of them grumble, them don't go to work. You know, and then the place is so. I remember I was in the hospital many years ago. And I was passing a stone. And there was one nurse I would never forget. I'll never forget it. That woman didn't have any other nurses on the ward, you know. She was the sister. And she had to be there. And of course, I bawling by passing a stone. I can't keep quiet. And every time I have, she was there. And the fellow above me, he started all the way to, and she was there. I would never forget her. Her name was Marcia Hines. Marcia. I have never forgotten that woman. You know what happened? Nobody can work that night, just she. And sometimes people don't come to work because of the way they're treated.
Yes.
But there's hope. But you got to know what can be done. When you got these supervisors, your supervisory officers who treat you like dirt, because no person in the public service is an employer. All of them are employees. You might be an employee with a higher grade than me, but you're an employee nonetheless. Everybody has a supervisor. Everybody, even the permanent secretaries. So as a matter of fact, the rules of the public service, the code of conduct and ethics, you will not believe that this particular rule exists. It says, officers shall endeavor to deal with the affairs of the public sympathetically, efficiently, promptly, and without bias or maladministration. Being courteous and respectful in words and demeanor to members of staff and to the public. But this week I had complaints where senior clerk go and get drunk and come back and abusing a particular officer. They know it in the ministry. People know it. People know he's going to get drunk when the day comes. They see coming in drunk and go sleep on the desk. But as he's up, he's cursing. And nobody is doing anything about it. As a matter of fact, their way of dealing with him is to transfer her. All right? But there's hope, I said. That you can't shout at people. I'm not your child. And I don't see why you should be shouting at your child either. So what happens, the Public Service Act, this is paragraph 6, I just read to you, of the Code of Conduct and Ethics. It says that you can do these things. But if you do them, then the Act itself says that at section 12, when an officer or employee is aggrieved by any action or decision of A person appointed by the commission who has or who had supervisory powers over that person. B, a person other than the person referred to in paragraph A who has supervisory powers in respect of the employment of that person, or a fellow employee. The officer may invoke the procedure with respect to grievance handling as settled in the 4th schedule. So you got hope, you can complain for them. And then the 4th schedule says, so how you carry out this complaint.
But can I just ask a question? Where can we find this? Is it something that we can type on it online on Google and get this code of conduct?
This is the code of conduct is the 2nd schedule to the Public Service Act. So if you get Public Service Act, it's there as the 2nd schedule.
And we can get the Public Service Act on Google.
Yeah, well, you can get. I think you can search and find it. Okay. You can't get it from the print read. They don't have any. They're on the paper. Right. So the procedure is quite simple. The problem with the procedure, however, is that when you make the complaint, officers refuse to do their job. Like, for instance, it says the procedure for handling grievances as follows, but may be varied where the union and the government agrees to do so. I think I must pay a tribute to Joseph Goddard, who died just recently, because it was he who insisted on having this grievance procedure for public officers. He was the person who pushed the government to put this into law. And if there's one thing that he did many things, but if there's one thing that he did, it was to have this procedure, because this was a practice in the public service, but not a law. It is not the law. You know, in addition to that, one of the things he's responsible for is to send me to train at the ILO's training center in Italy.
Wow. So
that is something where I got my thing. So he I'm not saying he was an angel, but not everybody had their flaws. He had some too, like everybody else, but his good points outweigh the flaws, you know. So I hope somebody can say that about me when I pass, that I had some flaws too, but my flaws were insignificant to my thing. So I hope that somebody can say that.
Contribution to the society.
You know? So I hope, but he did a lot for the public service. He was one of the best researchers, you know, that we had in the public service, and he could always find something to build his case on, you know, and he got along well with the workers. He mixed with them well. He was their man, you know. And I'm sorry to see him gone, because ever so often, now that he was in retirement, we would keep in contact via WhatsApp, you know. Anyhow, it says here, the first step, the aggrieved officer or employee, the short shirt of the union that represents the officer or employee, and the supervisory officer of the employee may seek to resolve the grievance within 3 days after the grievance had been reported. It says 3 days. Now, if that process does not bear fruit, or it does not result to your satisfaction, there is no resolution to your satisfaction, then you take a second step. Then you can appeal in writing to the permanent secretary assigned to the ministry or department.
Yes.
And the permanent secretary has 7 days to determine the matter. Where the permanent secretary then fails to determine the matter, either by not doing his job or not dealing with it to your satisfaction, you can then report the matter, the access to the permanent secretary, ministry, public service, civil service, or the chief personnel officer. Well, there's no longer a chief personnel officer. The post of permanent secretary, ministry, civil service, and the chief personnel officer have been combined into something called director general, which is not a good thing, because those two people had distinct roles, and you then and the permanent secretary, ministry, civil service on occasion would be able to pull back the chief personnel officer when the person was acting excessively.
Yes.
But now you have a situation where this current prime minister came into office and was persuaded to combine the two posts, and the service has not been the same since. So now you would appeal to the director general rather than any permanent secretary, or after the permanent secretary, your ministry didn't deal with it or didn't deal with it to your satisfaction, then you would report that to the director general, who has 10 days to deal with it. So that's all. And if, again, there is no resolution at that level, you can report the matter to the head of the public service. The head of the public service is the permanent secretary designated by the prime minister to be the head. And that person can resolve the issue if they choose. Well, after that, there are no people in the service that you can go to, so that's when the unions might start taking action. If it is one amenable to industrial action. That's not always the case. Sometimes you may go put the government in court for the officer. So there is a process. There is something that public servants can do when you have
a grievance.
Bad behaved bosses who think that they own the place and they behave bad. They tell you that sometimes I have to go to meetings with some of them and I say, "But how you get so? You know, you turn into a monster. You work like this." They say, like, you know, it's a power corrupt. You know, and the more power you get, the more corrupt you become. Well, that happens in the public service a lot.
But Mr. Franklin, I was wondering if we were to get that section, even if you copy it and send it to us, then we can create a chart. You know what I mean, like a hierarchical chart or a reporting chart. How do you report if there's a grievance so that you can see it? You know what I mean? And people can see it, step 1, step 2. You know.
Yes, I can take a picture of it and send it to you later.
Yes, after the show, and I can get somebody, one of the young persons, to do it so that we can see it. Yes.
That's one option. You can opt to do the grievance, or you can do what they call alternate dispute resolution. The problem there is that there has been no system put in place for any alternate dispute resolution, even though it's provided for in the law. Much the same way is in the public service, that you can, if you have been disciplined or dismissed, you can appeal to the public service appeal board. So the Constitution says, and so the Public Service Act says. Unfortunately, this act that was passed in 2007 and became effective the 31st of December 2007, the Public Service Appeal Board has not been appointed to date. They have not appointed a single one. So when you are disciplined, or if you're dismissed from the public service, you can, or you're disciplined, you can go to the board. but there's no board. So you're left with going to the Privy Council, which is with the government, with the president's Privy Council now, and you appeal to them, and you don't go and put a case. You write up what you want to tell them, and they determine based on paper.
Right.
So we don't. But right now, the laws are there for public servants. And I tell you, every week, I get people who say to me, I had an instance where was an officer come to me. He was abused, tell a lot of things, shouted at, so much so they were in the room and people outside in the yard could hear he was being abused. And of course, now you can't, you report the mighty permanent secretary and you're waiting. You know, the next, and then the permanent secretary didn't even respond. So you got to take it to the director general. These are all bad, but every person in the public service has to treat you in a particular way. Even if it is a person at your same level, you can't mistreat, you can't be disrespectful. Right? So let's take that aside now. Hopefully that people will hear what, know that there's a provision. And I'm not saying join me, join NUPW, join BW, join me, but join a union so that you can have your rights protected. I heard Tony Moore saying the other to join the union because he's trying to tell people, she said, look, you know, it is $6 a week. And you lose your job, you suffer this way because you're afraid. Like for instance, people at Sandals tell me that if they join the union, they will be dismissed. That is their crime in Barbados. If you dismiss anybody who joined the union for joining the union, you can go to jail. But people don't know this. The unions know it, but you're not in the union. And unfortunately, the employers like that. And that brings me now on to what Kamara is asking, what are 0-hour contracts? Just as last week, same Tony Moore was complaining that their employers now are given what they call 0-hour contracts. A 0-hour contract is exactly what it says. You get 0 hours sometimes. You do not have a contract that says your hours are 8 or 4 or whatever. It is when the employer calls you. So if you're going to work for you today, they don't call you.
Oh.
And you only get paid for the time you work. I had an instance where at a dental office in Barbados, that dentist can't even look at my mouth. He has his employees, you know, he had a procedure to perform, and the patient called and canceled at the last minute. He tell his staff, well, I'm paying you today, take care of the vacation there. Or if you ain't got vacation, you got the vacation, well, you ain't gonna pay. Those people come work, you know, get dressed, start working, and start there and waiting for them to work and start. He sent them home. They get them a cent.
Right.
This is basically what 0-hour contract is. Where the employer does not guarantee a minimum number of hours, and the employee is only required. I'm sorry, the employer would only pay you for the hours that you actually work. So if you are home today, you don't got the work going, and the employer calls and says, look, come in tomorrow at 8. You're going to scramble and get on to work.
Wow.
So
do you have a lot of employees? Is this becoming a common thing?
It is becoming, it is creeping in, right? And when Tony Moore spoke about it, and I will commend her for doing so. I will commend her when she when it's necessary. She spoke out about these things, bringing attention to it. The following day or 2 days after, the Nation brought a story in on the back page where 2 attorneys at law was justifying these 0-hour contracts. Now let's see what can happen. You have a family, you got children, you got a mortgage, you got a car to pay for. But somebody, and you're working, and then somebody said they can change it into a 0-hour contract. So you don't know if you're going to get paid this month or how much you're going to get paid, because if they don't call you to work today, you ain't getting nothing for today. And that might go on for a few days. Right? That is the problem. But I was very angry when I saw that those lawyers were trying to justify it, because I can tell you, those lawyers apparently like they didn't read the law. Because we have law in Barbados that does not provide for that. You can't do that to work. I can understand if you have a place where you do karaoke for the weekend and you call the 2 people and tell them to come and work with me. Yeah, I understand that. But you can't have a business going and you can only call them when you want them to come in there, and you can get all the money, but they're not going to get none unless you call them in today. It's like you go to the supermarket and, you know, by the Monday morning, the boy don't come in, so you don't bring the staff. You just got 2 cashiers, 1 or 2 cashiers, if so many, and I think you don't got the shift, so you bring the shift and tell them come at 10 or come at 11, and they work till 3 o'clock or thing, because they haven't gotten a lot of people shopping on a Monday. You know, the Adventists, they shop on the Mondays, but other than that, you don't got a lot of people shopping on a Monday. So you don't get hours. And people want to justify it. I then pick up the phone and I call the Nation and I said, listen to me. What they said to you is rubbish. I don't care how much lawyers there are, how much law school they went to, they ain't read the act. Because we have in the Employment Rights Act in Barbados that provides something called a statement of employment particulars. Every employer employing people in Barbados must give you a statement of employment particulars, and in order to, I'm just going to read it for you so that people will understand what it's saying. Section 13(1). It says, where a contract of employment is contemplated, the employer shall, prior to or forthwith upon the commencement of the contract, give the employee a written statement of the particulars of the employment. It says shall, not if you feel like, or if you you can do it sometime on the word. It says prior to or forthwith upon the commencement of the contract, you have to give them this statement of employment particulars. All right. The statement of employment particulars then at subsection 2 says the statement shall contain. This is an individual thing. It is for you. Each person that works should get one. You can't have a statement of employment particulars for the company. It is for the individual employee. And it says, the statement shall contain A, the name of the employee, and the name and the address of the employer. People might think that is thing, but you know there are many people who go before the Servants Payment Tribunal and cannot tell the Servants Payment Tribunal the name of the employer. They didn't know. But you can't come to the tribunal and don't know who you're suing. Because the employer got one name, but there might be, like for instance, Marcy Weeks and Company trading as the Marcy Weeks Show. And you go and put the Marcy Weeks Show, which is not a legal entity, and you didn't put the Marcy Weeks and Company in court, you can't get nothing. So this provision here is to say you got to tell them the name of the employer. B then says the date when the employment begins or began, as the case may be. C, the date on which the period of continuous employment of the employee begins or began, as the case may be, taking into account any employment by a previous employer which counts towards that period. Well, that only means that, let's say you were working for my company and I sell the company to somebody else. Now, if I don't pay severance and you take over my people and you're going to take them over with all the service that they had. So even though you might only start your company this year, your employees have been employed by you as far as the law is concerned from the time they start working with the previous employer. That is what this means. D, the title of the job which the employee is employed to do. E, a description of the work for which he is employed. F, the scale or rate of wages or the method of calculating wages. G, the interval at which wages are paid. So if you're weekly, monthly, by monthly, or whatever, they will tell you in this statement. H, the normal working hours. So the statement of employment particulars must tell you the hours that you are going to be employed by this company or this employer. And then I, the period of probation, if any. And there are others on, but I don't want to read all the rest of them. I want to stick to the one that says normal working hours.
Hours, yeah.
So normal working hours cannot be no hours. You got to tell them when they're supposed to come to work and when they're supposed to finish. That is what normal working hours mean. And it says here, the expression normal working hours in relation to an employee means those hours which are stated in his contract of employment to be his normal working hours. So you tell me I got to work from 8 till 4. And then one evening you look at me and tell me, well, you know, we having a shift from 4 till 12 at night. You're not talking to me. Because that is not in my contract. That is not in my statement of employment particulars. Mind you, you can negotiate it with me and I might like to do it. But you just can't come and impose it. Just that you can't come and tell people, oh, from now onwards, we give you 0 hours and we can only call you when you think. Normal working hours cannot be no hours. Mind you, one of the lawyers took offense at what I said and went on Instagram and tried to justify what they were saying. There's no justification for it. As a matter of fact, I got a couple of calls on lawyers today making fun at the lawyer who went out there and without reading the act properly, given this, and it is a dangerous thing to do because when employers hear a lawyer saying these things, they might want to do it.
Yeah.
Not taking into account that the law says something different because I hear it from a lawyer. But we got some lawyers that are
let me ask you, Caswell, I don't want to, about what's going through my mind. If the law is there, what's the Ministry of Labor doing concerning this?
The Ministry of Labor ain't doing anything right now. The minister talks pretty and gives people the impression that he is doing something. I remember when we first started with this series of shows that you have now. I was on Brass that Sunday, that Sunday, and I spoke about the government giving people jobs and calling them contract workers and not paying them national insurance. That minister said they made a mistake, they rectified it, and it's not happening anymore. So I
remember that.
You know, it's still happening up to today. He lied to the public. I am putting it no lower than that. He lied. You know, somebody will say he spoken untruth or he was mistaken. No, he lied. He knew what he was saying when he was saying it was untrue. I can understand the fellow make a mistake and say something that was not true because he didn't realize what he was saying was untrue. But the minister knew what he was saying was a damn lie when he said it. And I don't know if he preached that Sunday, but he's a minister of the gospel. That is why he said that the minister of the gospel and minister in this cabinet are incompatible. You can't, you can't serve man and mama because one is mama. So they're talking pretty.
Yeah.
I'm hearing them saying that they can do all these things with the Employment Rights Tribunal and make all these provisions and all kind of stuff. What they need to do is to fix this aspect of the law, because if you refuse to work in these 0-hour contracts and you have not been working for a year, they can fire you.
Yeah.
Because this Employment Rights Act only starts protecting you for a year, after a year. So what you would need to do, you can't claim unfair dismissal unless you have been working for a year. Mind you, if that statement of employment particulars does not have in something that the law requires it to have in, the employee can go to the tribunal, and I'm talking about within days or weeks of starting the job, and the tribunal can insert into that contract to direct you, the employer, to put something in or put something in for themselves. Right? So if you are going to give persons the right to go to the tribunal for the tribunal to make something like fixing the statement of employment particulars, then you got to give that person protection from the same employer that you are complaining for. So that's something that Colin Jordan should be doing. But they're not doing anything. Right? So those 0-hour contracts that people getting into offend the Employment Rights Act of Barbados that was piloted by Esteban Zico and passed in Parliament and assented to by the Governor General on the 18th of May 2012 and brought into force on the 15th of April 2013. So this has been the law since 2013.
Wow.
So I don't understand why these things happening. We have a Ministry of Labor, just like the case with Ronald Wiggins, who brought the case against the inserting these little things up in your nose to be tested or taken the you know what. The law says you can't do it. The chief labor officer wrote to them and said you can't do it. And they do it and they did nothing. They had to go to a tribunal. When the chief labor officer wrote to the employer, wrote to Rubis and said, no, you cannot require a person to take a medical procedure or go through some medical test to either get a job or to keep the job. That is against the laws of Barbados. But this same government told the employers, ensure that these people are jobbed. And some people got dismissed. Now that we have a case where the tribunal has ruled and said it was illegal and you can't do it, you would think that the cases now would be fast tracked so that the people who got dismissed would have their days in court or days before the tribunal. But nobody knows nothing about them. People still not getting compensation for the Ministry of Labor or the Ministry of Labor and the Minister of Labor not doing what is required of them.
Mm-hmm.
They prefer to attack me, go in the relevant house and attack me rather than deal with
Looking out. It'd be interesting to hear that conversation between Tony Moore and the Minister of Labor, which is why that those kinds of conflicting positions there.
But the thing is with her, she is General Secretary of the Union, and as much as she is a member of the Barbados, but she still has to do union things sometimes. And this one would have devastating consequences for a union.
Mm.
But the law does not allow it.
Yeah, but I'm saying I would like to see her advocating for these workers and to see what the minister is going to do, because they are part of the same party and a member of parliament as well. It's just interesting to me,
Kamhar is asking, is there a huge cost to go to the employment tribunal? There is no cost. None. All you have to do is to put a complaint before the chief labor officer if you are unfairly dismissed, if you have been subject to discrimination, or if you have not been given a vacation. Any of those things the tribunal can hear.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no cost for you. The only one of the pieces of legislation that there might be any cost to is if it is under the Sexual Harassment Prevention Act, Employment Sexual Harassment Prevention Act, because there's provision in that legislation for costs. You don't get costs before for unfair dismissal, but there's no provision in that Employment Rights Act that deals with unfair dismissal to provide for costs, but they'll fix that in the Employment Sexual Harassment Prevention Act. Employment Sexual Harassment, open brackets, Prevention, close brackets, Act. So I just want workers to be aware, notwithstanding what some lawyers have been saying. They are talking rubbish. And they're even trying to justify their rubbish because poor Caswell and a lawyer, so when Caswell come and correct them, they feel bad, so they won't go and attack me. I'm used to it. But when I said a certain person can't be arbiter when a matter like this, and the boy pay me the money, and no what happened. I'm not calling any names.
Wait, you stop calling names. Yes,
no, I mean, I'm not calling it tonight.
Okay, got you. Oh, I thought you stopped calling names, or you're worried.
No, I'm not worried, because if I want to call Gregory, because anybody will call it, but I'm not going to call it tonight.
well, you have another 20 minutes to do sexual harassment, and
yes.
then we're
let me go. That will take.
We're going to ask. Let me tell them, because people started calling already. We're going to ask you as of 9:20. Then you can start calling to talk about anything that Mr. Franklin is speaking about, anything you see happening in the country. Your thoughts on whatever you want to share with us.
Yeah, I can try to condense it into even before the 20 minutes so that they can get more time, because I like to hear callers.
Yes,
because I want to know what they want to know, because I might be telling people things that they know. I want to know what you don't know, and if I can, I will respond to them.
So this is the Ask Caswell moment, okay? Coming up in a couple minutes. Ask Caswell. All right ahead.
The last administration, I think it was under Saku again, introduced a piece of legislation called the Employment
You say
Sexual
this is
harassment.
Soko. This is Soko in the what they call these years again? What they call the years?
The
Um, the
lost
lost
decade.
decade, and you're reading something from the lost decade. I'm
Yes,
surprised. Go ahead.
yes, that because the Employment Rights Act is from the last decade too, and this
Wow.
Employment Sexual Harassment Prevention Act is also from the last decade.
Oh, wow.
This
Was it
this
really that lost?
no, it wasn't lost.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
go ahead. We won't get into
but
that. But
but it's political nonsense. People like this, like foolishness. The long title of that act says an act to make provision for the protection of employees from sexual harassment in the workplace. That is the long title of the act. It was well intentioned and is a necessary piece of legislation, because I have had instances where very senior people in the public service, would harass little young things almost half their age because they're quite pretty, and the people get high blood pressure and rash and all kinds of things because they're frightened, because these people got power,
yes.
And one instance, I had to take one of those most powerful people in the public service. I had to complain for them, and as a result, they had to go home. I've actually complained for permanent secretary. He unfortunately was only transferred, but this act covers private sector and public service. So you don't have to worry about, the public service. The public service got two provisions for sexual harassment. It's provided for in the Public Service Act, and it's also provided for in the Employment Sexual Harassment Prevention Act. So you can go either way in the public service. But I can deal with this act for today, right? This legislation is intended to be a shield, but unfortunately, it has become a sword in the hands of some people. Some people, this legislation is well intentioned, it is good and is necessary, as I said, but some people are abusing it. Because let's say you have an instance where you have a supervisor that decides, well, you're not doing your pulling your weight, and I'm going to report you. You rush and go to the boss and say he sexually harassing me. I've had instances like that, and I got to tell the people who do it that they got to stop this nonsense, because they are not going to be taken seriously, and as a result, other people who are really being sexually harassed will not be taken seriously. I can testify to people who are being sexually harassed. People even apologize for it. So I think that the people are making it up.
Right.
It actually happens. And let me tell you what sexual harassment is according to the law, according to the act. It says, for the purposes of this act, sexual harassment includes the use of sexually suggestive words, comments, jokes, gestures, or actions that annoy, alarm, or abuse a person. The initiation of uninvited physical contact with a person. You see, it says person. It doesn't say a woman, because fellas have been sexually harassed too. And I've suffered that way because I was always cute, and I have had actual instances where I had
Mr. Franklin, they would say you are the girls them sugar.
So it is not only reserved for women who have been sexually harassed. Anybody. C, the initiation of unwelcome sexual advances or the request of sexual favors from a person. D, asking a person intrusive questions that are of a sexual nature that pertain to the person's private life. E, submitting sexually offensive writing or material of any kind. F, making sexually offensive telephone calls to a person, or G, any other sexually suggestive conduct of an offensive nature in circumstances where a reasonable person would consider the conduct to be offensive. The reasonable person is not the person doing the harassment. It is the person who is on the receiving end. So people make lewd jokes with each other, but you can't do it with everybody, because it might not be sexual harassment to me, because I don't mind, but it might be sexual harassment to somebody else. So you can't. So from what you should do is to reserve that sexual harassment till you get home. Do not let it happen at work. A lot of people might say, but I spend most of my time at work, so I just gotta try a little thing. And there's an old saying that a dog is entitled to one bite. Well, not so with sexual harassment in Barbados. One bite is enough to cause you problems. The actual word in the legislation says, notwithstanding subsection 110 just read, nothing in subsection 1 shall be interpreted to preclude a finding of sexual harassment where there is a single incident. So you don't think that I want to try a little something, and if I don't get rid of it, I'm sorry, it does not work like that. You keep your behaviors for the people who you are friends with, not the people on the street that you go and meet, or the bus stand, or when you go to the bars, or wherever you go, or you go up and walk up behind the Prime Minister at the law court, or wherever it is. You can keep that type of behavior there, but you can't do it at work. Because if you do it at work and somebody is offended by it, you are in problems. But sexual harassment, no, this act doesn't only cover sexual harassment itself. Like, for instance, you are the officer that does the work, you should get the problem, but the boss pick up a little girl in there and he getting the favors, and she get the job. You can make a complaint about that too. Because that person, the boss deprive you because he getting some sugar, and you get disadvantage. You can bring a case against the employer to the chief labor officer. So employers better than mine. Like, you can't go and bring this with your little outside chick or outside fella, as the case may be, and put them over the people who are actually working and doing the work, and who will be better qualified for the work, but because the employer getting a little sugar here or there, he thinks that is also contrary to this thing, right? You can't grant, it says, unfair opportunities to the person that you are having, or you grant sexual favors with, or you cannot suggest to a young lady, if you let me do certain things, or to a young man, because you will get a job, or I will get a promotion and thing. That also is an offense. And I remember years ago, I knew this fella. He was gay, and I saw him in the security in the uniform of a security firm. I'm not gonna call it security firm name. So I said to him, yeah, I call him by the nickname. I used to call him. I said, well, how you get that job, bro? He said, well, I went for an interview, and the fella told me if he give peace, I can get the job. I said, so what you do? He said, well, I got the job. Yes.
It was a man or a woman?
It was a man. So that the law don't allow that to know, right? You can't do that, and that's and then when the other people who was vying for that job find out, the employer's in trouble, right? All right. Now, if you're going to make a complaint against anybody for sexual harassment, because you can make a complaint against an employee, solid employee, you can make it against the employer, you can make it against a person who does business with the company that you're working for. You know, the people come in and do, what is that? You got the people who do deliveries or whatever else. You can also complain for them if they come to you and be bold enough to think that they can come and ask you certain things. Then you can also make a complaint. But you have 3 months in which to make that complaint.
Yes.
If it occurs in January, you got February, March, April. 90 days. You can't go and... I'll tell you something. Because some people are distraught when these things happen, and they don't rush and go and make the complaint today, it doesn't mean that they're making it up or not. So it is just that they don't come to grips with it. They cannot talk about it. But you got to do that within the 90-day period. Failing that, you can get the police and get the police charged with something. You got 6 months with that. But the sexual harassment thing, you got 90 days to bring a case. Now, what you do, you make the complaint to the employer, right? After this thing, within 3 months of this thing happening, the employer now, within 2 days, 2 work days of receiving that complaint, must inform the person who is accused. And then he must commence an investigation, and he has 14 days to start that investigation. And he must complete that investigation within a reasonable time. Now, if you are not satisfied because what the employer will have to do now is to say, I do not find that it was sexual harassment, or that I find that it is sexual harassment.
Right.
And if he finds, doesn't find in your favor, you can escalate that complaint to the chief labor officer. And then the chief labor officer can then do his own investigation and stuff and come to a conclusion. Now, if you're not satisfied with that, you can go to the tribunal as well.
Yeah.
Right? So you can go, employer, if you don't like what he says, the chief labor officer, if you're not satisfied with the chief labor officer's decision, because the chief labor officer can dismiss it and say it's frivolous or something, you can do all of those things. But if he does that, you have an appeal to the tribunal. And even if the tribunal does not find for you, you can then also refer to a judge in chambers.
Oh.
Okay.
Like you see these steps, we need to have it that we can put it up. That would be good.
Right. So what happens though, if you make a complaint of sexual harassment and the information gets out, the person who left that information in trouble, because there are fines and imprisonment for doing so. So sexual harassment complaints must first be done confidentially and in secret, because you really don't want something out there that's your name on it. Because sometimes if a young lady or a young man, depending on who is doing the harassing, if that person makes a complaint and the information is circulated, that person getting a job again, because we got a lot of groups out there who live to trouble people,
Right.
And they get away with it because people do not know that they have rights. People crazy. I'm telling you, people call me and tell me, And then when they try to tell them about this complaint, because the complaint must be in writing to the employer, also must be in writing to the chief labor officer. Sometimes either they can't write or they're frightened to write because they figure they can lose their job. But if you lose your job as a result of making a complaint, that is an offense. The employer can go to jail for doing so. Mind you, if the person who's doing the harassment is the employer himself, you can't complain to him, or even the CEO of the company, then the complaint goes straight to the chief labor officer. Right? And you'll be surprised. Such harassment sometimes is even not even easy to detect by the person who's being harassed. Because I had a case recently where this young lady didn't even realize that she was being sexually harassed. Because the fellow was saying, "Oh, you just want to sit down and look pretty." But then what happened with she? When she looked pretty enough with somebody else and got pregnant, her life was a mess at work thereafter.
Oh, wow.
That case is on appeal right now. Because when I insisted I want to call the man as a before the disciplinary hearing, the chairman wouldn't allow the man to come to the hearing.
You know, Mr. Franklin, let me just let people know that you can call in. There was a gentleman who called in earlier and had a comment or a question for Mr. Franklin. So you can call in 1-246-236-7000. 1-246-236-7000. You can WhatsApp or you can do a straight call. Okay, a regular call.
Right.
Continue,
So
Mr. Franklin.
there's one drawback. The person who makes a complaint of sexual harassment, knowing it to be false, is liable to a fine of $10,000 or imprisonment for 2 years, or both. Sometimes that might scare people into believing that if I make a complaint and I lose the case, that I might get locked up. No, that's not the case. If you had a genuine belief that it was sexual harassment, but then somebody else belief was different to yours, that is not making a false complaint. The complaint was genuine. It is just that you don't have enough evidence or something sort to satisfy the complaint. But if you want to life on somebody, like you said that somebody trying to trouble you and a particular day and that body was at work or the body was overseas, you make an thing begin because it's not something you're trying to make a case, you go jail. So, but I encourage young women and young men to put these people in the place when they come. I am seeing right now the young lady that I was speaking about earlier, when this very high ranking person in public service made her life a living hell. He had to retire from the public service. I think that was the best things I did in my entire career.
Oh, wow.
But his colleagues made life difficult for her thereafter.
For her, yeah. My gosh.
That is a crime, too. But unfortunately, that aspect of it was not pursued because the how high ranking they were. People didn't want to trouble that situation, and even that person was offered a job outside for a short period, and they wouldn't even get this. They wouldn't even get a secondment because they can make it pay. Because these people feel that these little young girls.
One second, Mr. Franklin. The caller is here. Good night. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Good night, Marcia.
Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear. Go right ahead. Thank you for calling.
You can hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can hear him right, Caswell.
I'm low. You might have to repeat what he's saying.
Is it better now, Caswell? Can you hear him now?
Let me go and turn off the TV. Let me go and put off that TV.
Now, I hear a little noise in the background, but I can't make out what he's saying.
Okay, guys, can anybody hear him?
Yeah, I'm speaking now. Loud and clear.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm hoping the others can hear you. Go right ahead.
Okay. What Mr. Franklin had said tonight is the absolute gospel truth of things that occur in the public service. I myself can testify to the fact that I had to appeal to the head of the civil service. Can you hear me?
They're saying there's
On May 2017. Can you hear me?
right. They're saying that that it's a little low. So I'm trying here to see if it might be the mic because I'm hearing. Keep going again. Keep going.
Okay, I click on my speaker. I had on my speaker. Can you hear me better?
Okay, is this any better, Mr. Franklin?
I'm hearing a little better now, yes.
Okay, keep going.
Let me just go up
Okay. Try again.
Yeah, I'm still here. Don't go away. Trying to get it up to all. Can you hear me now? A little better?
Yes, I'm hearing you a bit better, but I'm hearing you. I've been hearing you. So it might be my fault. So is he still low? Guys, let me know if he's.
Yes, I'm going to see if I can get a microphone to put in my ears so I can hear a little better.
I'm trying to speak as hard as I possibly can. Can you hear me now?
Right, so it has to be me. It's I think something with my. Okay.
Right. So what I'm saying is that I appealed to the head of the service on the 22nd of May 2017. Based on that same section that CASWELL has outlaid in relation to section 3 of the recruitment and employment code under the first schedule, and section 3 2C and E, and also subsection M of the Code of Conduct and Ethics of the Public Service 2010. Hello, you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing.
It's a bit better. Yeah.
Right. I appealed on the grounds because I used to work at the Barbados Statistical Service.
Yes.
And I was a clerical officer. And what they did, they wanted to restructure the office to remove clerical officers and create posts for statistical assistants and also statisticians 1 and 2. I had a degree in political science and law, so I had studied a substantial amount of courses at the University of West Indies, and I passed political science and law double major. And you know, those persons were so dangerous and wicked that they did not want to give me a post of statistical assistant or statistician 2, although I had done those courses. And they wanted me to move on from my desk that I was on, and I was 62 years at the time. They want me to move off my desk and let somebody else take my position and get a post higher than me. Somebody younger than me that only got O levels and never see the door of university yet. So I had to appeal the case. And I appealed under section 3.1 of the Recruitment and Employment Code under the first schedule referred to the Public Service Act of 2010. And the same it relates to the selection of officers for appointment on merit, seniority, and experience.
Yes.
Here they want to bring somebody who's 20, who only got 5 years in service, and I almost got about 20, 25, 30 years in service, and they want to supersede me to give this a political frame from the government my seat.
Yeah.
So I did not move. So my argument, my issue in the case was whether there was a breach of section 3, 2C and E, and also M of the Code of Conduct and Ethics in the Public Service. Whether there was any supersession by promoting officers with 4 years in service to scale Z2317 above officers that have 25 years in service.
Yes.
A letter, these are the issues. I am being forced to act in a way now which is illegal, improper, or unethical, or otherwise inconsistent with the code of conduct and ethics. Right? So I made an appeal to the head of the civil service, and I wrote my appeal in the same way CASWELL FRANKLYN is telling the public of Barbados how to use the taxonomy of the civil service, the structure of the civil service, to make the appeal the right way and not the wrong way. So I sent it through the director of the Barbados Statistical Service at first instance, to the permanent secretary, and it then went up. And then I had no appeal down to the head of the civil service. But I sent it through the right channel so that it would not be not be said to be rushing the gun. And the appeal itself was made on the following grounds: unequal treatment under law, discrimination, improper behavior by the managers of the Barbados Statistical Service, breach of the principle of natural justice in the course of an employment contract. And I relied the law, which is the Barbados Constitution. I relied on sections 23(1)(b), right on that, Gabriel. Remember that section 23(1)(b) of the Constitution. And it also relied on the Civil Service Code, which is section 4 of the Code of Conduct and Ethics. The Code of Conduct and Ethics section 11(1), A, B, C, and D. Right down that.
Where you were required to act in a way that was inconsistent. I know the right very well.
And the Public Service Act, section 12, part 2.
So what is your question? What is it? What do you want CASWELL to do for you tonight? What do you want? You have a question?
I already read the case.
Ah.
I'm doing is strengthening what CASWELL has said tonight.
Yes.
By applying the law
Ah.
of the civil service. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. And you won your case.
Right channels.
Uh-huh.
I can soon finish up.
Yes.
I finish up because I know that I don't want to take a big old show. Put me off there.
I am sorry.
Well, I wanted Janet to know that I got a result from the head of the civil service after they tried not to route it to the civil service. I rely on a section of the said Public Service Act that states that if you don't get a reply from them within a certain time, you can appeal now to the commission. So the commission appears to be a separate body that will override any decision now of any head of the department. You understand what I'm saying? So when they got the letter from me that I gave them notice of appeal to the commission, they tell me, the head of the department tell me, man, you can't appeal to the commission because the commission this is between you and the head of the civil service and the permanent secretary. I said, well, there's a commission in between there, whereby if you don't hear from them in 7 days, you can appeal and ask to take the matter to court, because they said I was not a member of the union because the union wasn't doing anything for anybody. You understand?
Yeah.
I haven't approached CASWELL and the union at that point in time because I was a member of the Barbados Public Service Union. But they was selling up with the government. So if you take the case to them, it is dog dead.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I said I can take it to court. So I did it. Because the rule states, which CASWELL rightly pointed out, that you can go to court if you're not a member of the union. Unless they don't have these tribunals set up to hear you. These certain appeals tribunals, you got to go to court to get the thing. You know, Marcia, after I threatened them for the commission, you know what they did? The head of the civil service wrote a letter to the head of the department and tell you that Mr. John King is fully qualified for any post in the Barbados Statistical Service, and please take action accordingly. And that was the end of my case.
Yes, wow, wow. And you follow the law. The point is that you follow the law.
Hello?
You use the law, is what I'm saying.
I used the law because my degree was in political science and law.
Right.
And then after that, I went back to KFL and so I could finish up this law degree. So I went back to KFL and finished up my law degree and passed my law degree with honors.
Excellent. Well, congrats. And look, you were able to defend yourself.
You know, as thing said, Ralph Thorne said that the Barbados, their party got tentacles hanging out there.
Yes.
In the Democratic Party. You know that the Barbados, their party got tentacles hanging out at University of West Indies too.
Oh, Lord.
They know who they want. You don't know what's going on.
They have lots of tentacles. Well, let me thank you so much. Let me thank you because just in case somebody else wants to call, let me just thank you for calling. And you're a proven example of what Caswell is saying, that you're able to use the law. Thank you so much. And congrats on your law degree. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes. All right.
I am heartened, Marcia, because, you know, people think, oh, these things are just academic. They don't really happen. I'm glad that he was able to say, yeah, and he got results, right? But you got to be persistent. You got to stand up to these people because a lot of people bring in their children, their significant others, and significant others, number one and number two, so that they can find jobs for them. Because if I find a job for you, I ain't going to give my money. They can count money for the wife. So what they do, they disadvantage a lot of people, and then the thing is, a lot of them don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yes.
But they get a job.
Yes.
We got too much of that pervading the public service, and I'm glad that he was able to at least give people the assurance that this is what is happening. This is what has happened to me, Caswell, in really making it up. But I am making it up, you know, it's there in the law.
Yes. You know, and that's what I liked about it, that he was following the law. You know, he made mention of the code of conduct and the Constitution, and he argued his way, and they realized that they were wrong. And that's why I'm saying I don't understand why the Ministry of Labor is not, you know, hearing a word from them about even these 0-hour contracts. I don't understand, but unless they're waiting, or, you know, I mean, who is advocating on behalf of the people of Barbados?
They're not. They're just, the thing with the Labor Department is that the junior people, they try to work, and they try to work hard. Unfortunately, there are not enough of them. There are too many cases. You can't got so few people handling so many cases, and so many different subjects. Like, for instance, you have a labor officer who has a matter before the court because he's referred a matter to the DPP. He want to prosecute somebody for not giving vacation. So that officer now has to go down by the court and start from 9 o'clock and wait till the magistrate call their case, and then when you do get in at 1:30, magistrate say, like, I got lunch, right? We got this and that, and we can adjourn. So you would have spent the better part of the day down by the court waiting for a case to call, and it didn't happen.
Yes.
But that officer now still has the phone ringing on the desk, and you hear somebody saying, but nobody don't answer the phone. The phone on your desk. You got direct line, and you can't hear it. You see? So some people criticize the officers, and the officers get the blame and get cursed all the time.
Yes.
But in fact, it is not their fault. Now, we have a chief labor officer who most of the officers let to get rid of. Me too, me included. And totally useless. And I remember when the previous officer, chief labor officer before, when he said to me, he said, you'll be happy to hear that I'm going into retirement. I said, damn right. But I And you know that they could have find somebody worse.
Wow.
You know, no skills whatsoever. And so it seems as though they like to put the worst people at the top so that they won't really make the decisions and don't do anything and keep back the cases. You know, the chief labor officer has 42 days to deal with the unfair dismissal matter. 42 months pass. The law says that if the chief labor officer is unable to deal with it within 42 days, except in some extenuating circumstance, they must send it on to the tribunal. But you got some for years that let me send on the tribunal. And again, I am making it back. I can find it somewhere about here in the legislation. You got 42 days in which to do so. But no, you keep them going and going and going, but you don't have the officers to deal with the matter.
Yeah.
It says here, where the chief labor officer is unable within 42 days of the making of a complaint, except in extenuating circumstances, to effect a settlement of the complaint under section 43, he shall make a report to that effect to the tribunal. So why are they keeping cases why is the chief labor officer keeping cases for so long? Send them to the tribunal. But again, they ain't gonna send them to the tribunal because they only got one panel working, one of three. And the minister is saying, well, they ain't gonna do nothing but that because they're going, don't want to appoint the chairman because we can soon change the system. The chairman went for over a year. And then the other deputy chairman, who would chair another panel, he has resigned. So you got one person who can chair a panel and all these cases.
Wow. It's not efficient.
It is a part-time job too. So you do it when you get time outside of your normal work. Mind you, the current lady who is doing the case, she's very good.
Mm-hmm.
But it can only be very good for so few. But then again, she comes from Canberra, so you never expect her.
Let me just let people know. Okay, guys, you can call in, and as you are getting ready to call in, we want to remind you about the solemn walk tomorrow. So we have the solemn walk tomorrow, Saturday at 10 a.m. at Kensington. Let me see the thumbs up of those who are going to be there. Come on, don't let us go out there by ourselves. Huh? Did you see how we had CBC gave me a call? I was totally surprised and invited me on Good Morning Barbados. I said, what is going on here? And they were,
they're going to say that you was a bee.
I was sitting here. I was trying to get somebody to go for me. Nobody was available. Dr. Ferdinand would normally take me on with these kinds of things, but he was traveling at the time. And he's back in the island, actually, and will be with us. Dr. Ferdinand, those of you who are asking, he's going to be with us on Monday. He's going to host the show on Monday. But, and then Starcom carried it 3 times in their news. I'm like, what on earth is going on here? So, folks, it means that you really need to come out tomorrow. Right? You really, really need to come on. Only Mystic Angel said that they're coming. Teroni said that they'll be going. So only two persons will be coming tomorrow. Oh, my Lord. After all of that work, I'm talking about it all week, and you tell me only 2 of you are going to come tomorrow? Listen, no rain. We're not going to have any rain. Don't talk about no rain. Okay? Monica Ince, you watch the interview, but are you coming tomorrow? Skylar, okay, Skylar, tick present. Jacqueline, okay, and FX Trading, tick present, yes. Okay, so that's what, 5. So it's my husband and I, And Caswell, you gonna be there?
I'll join you later because on the park because I want to have the car the first part in the morning.
Okay. So far is what? Well, 7 of us and Dave and I. Oh Lordy. Yeah. Okay. Joel King. Okay. All right. So people going to be there. People going to be there. I'm sure you want to continue to hear Zico John. Huh? Yeah. All right. So folks, I was just reading. Yes, and Shaquani will be there. And all the Shaquani, Zico, Imari Brown is going to sing, and Malachi Hope. You remember he has an amazing poetry, spoken word, and he's going to do that there. And in fact, if Dave has that other flyer, these guys are going to have a poetry evening on Sunday, and that I'm planning to go to. It's going to be if Dave has that flyer, I can put up the flyer, and I'm leaving there and then coming to the show and coming to do the show on Sunday night. Okay, Coraline said that they're going to be in their white, that they will be in their white tomorrow. Yes, don't forget we're wearing white tomorrow. Yeah, so this is another thing that is happening. And these guys, you know, this is one of the persons who is normally on the show, and they're having this evening of poetry. It's 1 hour of poetry. And they have an open mic 4 to 5 on Sunday evening, and the main show is 5:15 to 6:15. Tickets $20. We don't normally advertise these kinds of things, but these are young men, all young men on here, and they are going to be doing their poetry. And you can message me for the flyer so you get to, you know, more information on it. I know it's in Bay Street is where it is, the location is going to be. Okay. Yes. Yes, Coffee's Bay Street, Bayside Bar and Restaurant, St. Michael, Barbados. These young men, and let's support them. Let's support them. All right. So they're going to come. 2 of them are going to be at the march, at the Solemn Walk tomorrow. But they have a night where they're trying to earn a living for themselves. So I'm going to go down, support them, and run back to make sure I'm back here for the show on Sunday night. Okay. So it'll be a nice little evening out. And it finishes 6:15. You can get back in time for the show. All right. And we, of course, you know, we have elevated again, something again for the young people. Right? Ages 16 and older. Right here, it started on the show when we're talking about education on the show. Rose Corbin is the person who's actually training the trainers, training the teachers. And it's a 16 years and older. And I'm told by the coordinator to announce it because they need students. They need people to register. So it's free of cost. Free of cost. You have a young person at home and they're willing to, you know, be part of, to get ready for the next stage in life. This is something that they could be part of to improve their literacy, enhance their skills, prepare for work. It's free. Okay, give us a call, 236-7000, and I can put you on to the coordinator. And where, you know, and they're going to, you know, they're going to be, you know, the coordinator will be able to give the registration forms, etc. Reach out to people in your community. You know, this thing with this crime and violence thing, you know, that we are dealing with, it is something that the whole community has to get involved in. We cannot just talk about it. We can't just sit and wait on the government. We can tell in this particular thing, they have no clue as to what they're doing. They will tell us they have a handle on it, and then the next week we hear in here sound like Gaza, right? The next week they come and they say, oh, we're going to do this and we're doing that and we're doing that. And then no, it's going to take all of us, everybody getting involved. And it's programs like Elevated. It is like the event that is happening there in Bay Street with these young men that Donna Tate is giving an opportunity to. Right there in these are the events, these are the initiatives. You heard Zico talked about being in the movie and how that changed his life, and he didn't want that's how he came out the gang and took some of his friends with him. Wholesome activities. And tomorrow our young people are going to be on the truck. Primarily, they're going to be doing their poetry. They're going to be speaking. Let us support them. Come out and let's support him. Let's provide that atmosphere for them. Yes?
Marcia, someone wrote a WhatsApp to me while we were speaking, and they were asking if they can be forced to work with defective equipment. If you are in the private sector, you have the Safety and Health at Work Act, Section 104. They cannot force you to work in a situation where it's dangerous to you, right? You can refuse to do dangerous work, or if the equipment can harm you, you don't have to. Even some of those buildings you see where the air conditioning working too good and fungus and all kind of things come out the buildings and stuff, you don't have to work in there. You can come outside. They can't do it and go home. But you have to report it to the Safety and Health Committee, the Chief Labor Officer, or your union. Right? They just can't get up and go home. You got to report it that you are not working in those conditions. Now, if you are in the public service, the permanent secretary is required to create a working environment that is conducive to increased productivity and greater job satisfaction in the public service. And it says, notwithstanding paragraph F, the one I just read, of Section 8, it shall be the duty of every permanent secretary to ensure that the provisions of any enactment in respect of health, safety, and welfare of persons at work are observed in relation to the ministry or department to which the permanent secretary is assigned. And now if the permanent secretary fails to do that and you get injured, you can sue him. And I remember once I went to the department, and I tell the department, I said, look, I take a ruler and I push the ceiling tile and somebody dropped down on my head. I said, look, I go in here, I tell you, stop in here. I had to go home and bed jump. And I said, but she said, no, I ain't tell nobody working here. The permanent secretary is the woman. She says, I ain't tell nobody working here, I ain't tell nobody working here, because she will be responsible. So when you have a situation, but somebody equipment is defective, they said no. And if they insist that you're going to work with it, you report the permanent secretary. Then he's aware. And if that person, if you're a member of a union, you bring it to the attention of the union, so the permanent secretary might hear the union fast and hear you. There's a rule everywhere for everything in the public service.
That's what I'm saying.
You just got to know that they exist, and we have to find them.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I mean, the rules that it's all there. Right?
Now you put me to work with malfunctioning or defective equipment and it explodes on me or something. So it's an accident now. Because you know that there was a possibility. You put that person in danger. And if the person dies, you're going to want 6 months of pension. Does that make sense? The wife get 1 6 months of pension. You get severely injured that you can't work no more. No, you refuse to do the work. You refuse to work in those conditions. You're not using them.
Somebody was asking here if you have any stats. EZD was asking if you have any stats to show the percentage of sexual assault cases per year, and is
No,
it increasing or not?
no, you can't get them because they're supposed to be confidential. I know of some because I have to deal with them. But I wouldn't know what the other person doing because you can't say, well, somebody harassed my ass for weeks. Because that would be an offense. You can't bring up that information, so they can't publish it. But I can tell you that it is widespread. And you know, one of the things that bother me is that women will come to my office and complain about it. And then when I say to them, well, look, let's make a complaint, they're frightened.
Right.
You know, one of the biggest problems that we have in Barbados is fear. Fear of standing up for yourself.
Yeah. Somebody's asking, Caswell, how does one deal with sexual harassment from customers in the workplace, like a restaurant or bar?
You report it to the employer. Now, if the employer fails to deal with it, you report it to the chief labor officer because he has to take action to protect you, even if it means that the customer can't come back in there. But he has to deal with it. Like I was reading it earlier when it says complaints from. It says where a complaint is lodged with the employer under Section 7, the employer shall A, and then B, it says in the case where the complaint is made against the client, take such action as he considers appropriate in the circumstances to bring the matter to the attention of the client. Now, if the employer does not do that, you can then terminate your own services and claim constructive dismissal, especially if you got enough years in the place and you get big money. Or you can take the matter through the labor department and hopefully you get some sort of resolution to it. Because if you do that, the employer is precluded from taking action against you if you report the matter. It says here, no employer shall carry out any action which adversely affects the opportunities and terms and conditions of service of an employee who has A, rejected the employer's acts of sexual harassment, B, who has lodged a complaint under this act, or has given testimony with respect to an investigation conducted or hearing held under this act in connection with a complaint of sexual harassment, D, participated in an investigation, procedure, or hearing under this act. And it then goes on to say, no person shall subject or threaten to subject another person to any detriment on the grounds that that person has made or proposed to make a complaint under this act, or has furnished or proposed to furnish any information or documents. Right. So if you suffer any detriment as a result of making a complaint, the employer is in trouble. And if he does that, it's an offense, and he can find himself before a court.
Hi, Caswell, you there? You're gone. Your camera's gone.
You're hearing me, Marcia, because I just
yes.
You're hearing?
Yes, okay. I'm hearing now. Yes. Somebody said that a lot of men get sexually harassed, but then they don't report it because the person saying because the law goes in the woman's favor. Is that really so? That the law is in the woman's favor?
No, it doesn't go in the woman's favor. I remember years ago, a man brought a case against a woman for sexually harassing him or raping him, rather. And the police, everybody laughed at that man. All right. Men are too mature, and you know so people will laugh at you. So I think the problem comes out of our culture. You know, a woman trouble you, you vex, that kind of thing. You know, because myself have been sexually harassed. I went to the permanent secretary and complained for the lady, and his response was, "Why don't you go and do X to the woman and start bugging me foolishness?" You know, I didn't want her.
Wow.
And she thought that she was God's gift to everybody who she wanted, and I didn't think so. I complained, and the permanent secretary called me a fool because she was quite good looking and probably appraised. And so he thought. I didn't think so. But again, I was appraised too. So I, you know.
The girls, them sugar.
You know? So people make fun of you. But the law, it doesn't go, it is not in favor of the women. It is, if you have the evidence to substantiate your case, know that we have this act, the Employment Sexual Harassment Prevention Act. It's easier, and you wouldn't get a permanent secretary no looking at you and complain, because if he laughs at you, you can report him to the chief level officer. You know, and those days, you know, but I had no recourse. I was a young, much younger fellow. They didn't have this act, and then again, you know, being so damn cute is a disadvantage sometimes, you know. And he thought that I should be happy that she wanted me. And of course, I was more discriminating, you know. But you know, so people, he laughed at me and said me some foolishness. So that's what happens. You know, so men are ashamed to go forward, because you know that if a fella complains about a woman, you know, they can say he funny. You know, because you should be honored that woman troubled you.
Right. You know? Well, somebody says some men like the thrill of it, so they keep quiet. They don't bother to say anything. Some men, but there's some men like CASWELL.
No. It is not sexual harassment if you like the thrill.
It's a what?
It is not sexual harassment if you like it, because sexual harassment is unwanted.
All right. Well, it's 8:59. Does somebody say calling you Mr. Hard to get? Well, it's 8:59, and I do have a statement that I would like to read before we close, before you give your closing remarks, CASWELL. So this is important, and I was directed to advise to make this statement. So let me just read it. The Marcia Week Show would like to use this opportunity to state that none of its hosts, panelists, or presenters are paid for the services given on this show. This effort is one of sacrifice, commitment, passion, and deep love for our country, Barbados, and our fellow citizens. On the Marcia Week Show, we give selflessly of our time, financial and intellectual resources to provide a virtual space where our fellow Barbadians can be educated on what is happening in the governance of Barbados, advocate for change, and encourage the citizens to become a strong opposition to the corruption, lack of transparency, and mismanagement of this present government. As loyal sons and daughters, we will continue to agitate, motivate, educate, and mobilize Barbadians to realize that when we lose our fare, they lose their power. Thank you. So, Mr. Franklin, any closing words that you have before we go?
I've been almost tempted to listen to some venom.
I don't even listen to it. I've not listened to one.
I have not. I have received it from 10 or so different people, and every time I hit this thing, and I realize who it is, I just turn it off. But people have been telling me that you have been abused and I have been abused. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't listen to somebody like that and that thing.
I have not listened to it.
I heard that you are paid, and I can tell you that payment is part of their arsenal, because Caswell Franklin, was at the coconut vendor that Warren buying coconuts. One of their people come down and offer me money on a monthly basis to do things. So they pay. Of course, I will remain poor. I didn't want the money then, I ain't want it now. What we do here, I do for love of country. And if Marcy gets paid, she don't give me none.
and I don't get paid. I don't get paid.
So let me just say up front. I know Marcy don't get none. I know Freddie don't get any. So I don't know what these people coming up with, and they got. I heard somebody said they got proof. Well, produce the proof. I all I want to do is to share what little bit of knowledge I have. I believe, and I tell people all the time, that if I have $100 bill and I give it to you, I no longer have that $100 bill. But if I have some knowledge and I share that knowledge with you, I can still retain it. So I don't mind. People think, but Caswell, you give it all your... No, I don't give it away. I still have it. It is I share it with you. And that is what I do on the show at nights. I share what little I know. I know a lot, but what little I know, I would share. Because I get a reward from having people say thank you. I didn't know that, and that is all I need. You'll be surprised how many times. Only this week in the supermarket, Marcia, some boss was telling me to tell you thanks. She watches this from England, but she's here in Barbados now, and she learned so much things from the Marcia Week show, and she wanted to thank you and thank me. But when she approached me, I didn't know what it was, and then she said, "You don't know me because I don't know." And she then gave me the wording because she watches it from England. So Marcia, this show is performing a service, and I would like that service to continue because people need to be educated. People don't want you to be educated, because they want to take advantage of you. They want to abuse you. And if you are ignorant, then they got the power.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make sure that I share as much as I can with the people, because and people say, but Caswell, but you shouldn't do that. You can make money. Everybody, money, you don't need money for everything. All of my children are grown. They work for more than me. I thank God for that. Because but the only children I got now is snoring Max. And Max I snore here, trying to get up on the and trying to get noticed, and but that is it. So ignore foolish people. That's all I can tell you. But what I will tell you is that if you need to know anything, and I have it, you will get it.
Yes, we know that, and we all of us who come on the show, we do the research that we do and everything. And I want to just commend all the presenters that have ever passed through here, all the panelists. They prepare and they labor in love. And it's because of our love for our fellow Barbadians why we're doing this. I really do hope that I will see you all tomorrow. Please ignore all of that. We don't have any time to focus on it. We have to stay. We have work to do. You have called for this march. You are the ones who tell me you buy your marching shoes already. You tell me you're going to protest against us if we don't do it. And so you have called for it. Okay. You are the ones who have called for it, and we are going to be doing this tomorrow. So we are doing what you asked for. So let's join each other. Let's come out. Let's see each other, hug on each other, love on each other. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Kensington Mall or Massey Car Park. If you That was the name of it before. It's changing now to Kensington Mall, and then from there we go to Independence Square. But we're not staying at Independence Square. Don't forget, we're not staying at Independence Square. We're just stopping there to say thank you to everybody, and we are gone. All right. That save us a bit of money there. Okay. All right. With Mr. Franklin, it's been a joy to see you tonight. And let me see if I can get us back in. Yes. Great to see you tonight. Thank you for the education. Thanks to Zico for being here as well. And thank you for those who have donated, and to the lady that needs a wheelchair, those that have donated to Rachel, the bed, etc. Thank you all for all that you do for Barbadians, even those that we don't come on and speak about, because we don't want to bring everything to you. But a lot of you, you know who you are. I can call on you and you help the people that need help. So thank you so very, very much. Okay. Over to Dave. Dave, what we're listening to tonight before we go? We can't hear if we're supposed to hear. We can't hear, Dave. Should we wait on it? Is it coming, folks? Okay, it's coming.
Children, can you tell me when will it end? How many more must carry this load? Oh, how many more? How many more? How many more? Before we trot down Zion Road. How many more? Sing wayo, 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 wayo. Heavenly Father, won't you hear my plea? Send a happy hand for the country. In man, there's no solution. No. I'm begging for the children's future. Oh, Jah just got them by the collar. How can we stop this mind pollution? Too many starving and too many hungry. Too many homeless souls in the city. It seems like there's no. Too many big shots and too much connections. Too many loopholes in Babylon system. But yeah, how can your children go? How many more must carry this load? How many more before we trot Zion?
All right, guys. Good night. Good night, folks. Bless you. See you tomorrow.